Good evening, racing fans, and welcome back to the channel, proudly sponsored by Oddschecker. Okay, so fellas, the Cheltenham Festival is done and dusted, and this is basically going to be our review show for what happened last week. Lots of good stories, some pretty good performances as well. We'll have a look, obviously, how you got on in the head-to-head Ante-Post battle. But we just wanted to say thank you to everyone that's tuned in all season long. Been really good to have the support, and it doesn't actually stop here for us either. We're going to be running all the way through the rest of the jump season. We'll be doing the flat season too, and I hope you all back plenty of winners and obviously gambled responsibly. Responsibly enough, anyway. You know, as Cheltenham, we do like to get stuck in a little bit. Right then, we have some good racing coming up soon, but we've also got the Masters, the majors all start to kick off. So if you'd like to come over and join me on Oddschecker, you can, and I'll pop a link in the description below. But what we're going to do, fellas, we're going to jump straight in. But first off, Scotty, how are you? How did you enjoy the festival? Nice story, some good performances, but did you enjoy yourself?
Not as much as I normally have, if I'm being honest. I was a bit flat the whole week.
Okay.
Don't know why, because the racing was good. Just probably looking to change next year. We mentioned a couple of plans we have for watching it next year. So yeah, getting a bit stale, but really enjoyed the racing, but just didn't have my usual aura about me this year for some reason. Don't know why.
Yeah, that's fair enough, mate. That's fair enough. Yeah, like you said, we're not planning on going to Benidorm though. For anyone that's listening, we're not part of that camp, but possibly going to have Scotty and Jamie over if we can get Jamie away from his usual sort of week. It's a bit of a ritual over there in Ireland for you, Jamie, isn't it? You go to the castle bar, you go to the oyster, you got the bear with you as well.
Yeah.
Did you have a good week, mate? Did you enjoy it first of all?
Yeah, we did, of course we did, Joe. Very good with Dad and Tom, the bear, and all the lads, and a few people you met at the Dublin Race Festival were with us. Yeah, it was a tough year. Yeah, I won't deny it. I suppose we said amongst ourselves, not being smart, that Tuesday and Thursday were a bit of a lull. Even though I won on Tuesday, but it went downhill after that. Wednesday and Friday were a great buzz. Yeah, great buzzes. We'll say that. Locally wise, it was a great buzz on the Wednesday, and Friday was brilliant as well. But Tuesday and Thursday were tough days. They really were. Um, but that's just the way it goes. It's Cheltenham. We've had it all our own way for the last couple of years, punting wise. But it's a different festival when you've been running around in bogs all year, and then a bit of good ground comes along and changes the whole thing, doesn't it? But sure, look, you wouldn't have it any other way.
Are we going to be able to tempt you over to England for a few days next year, or
No, I'll never ever go to the festival ever again.
No, but you can come and watch it with me and Scotty because we're even saying the same. Like we go watch it in a pub or nearby, and
You'll have to drag me kicking and screaming away from my friends, unfortunately.
I thought that it's a
And
proper.
you've met half of them.
Yeah, no, look, the great crowd, really nice bunch of people, some good judges as well. We're just thinking of maybe doing something a little bit different, perhaps. I was up the course in the mornings doing some previews for Oddschecker on course. I was fortunate enough to have media passes. I could have stayed all day, but even I didn't fancy it as much as usual. I enjoyed sort of sitting at home watching it, but it was no, it was good fun nonetheless. But I think everyone found it was a little bit unusual this year, wasn't it? Like as far as atmosphere goes. Is that,
A very different year. Very different
that
year.
why is that? Numbers?
Um,
I can't really put my
everything.
finger on it.
I suppose not being smart, so everything's changed. I suppose COVID, I suppose, has a lot to do with a knock-on effect, not being smart or anything like that. And just this is just my opinion. COVID, we had our own thing in COVID, and obviously then kind of 2022, it was a great year, and year after everyone was buzzing. Last year was not a bad year.
Yeah.
Um, it changes, and I suppose cost of living, and look, people are look. I as I said, to you, it'd be a long time before I ever go to the festival again. Cost is huge. I suppose you have to make things like in anything in life. To me, to be honest with you, you can make it as dear as you want, as you make it as cheap as you want. When I went first, I stayed in a Sutton Coldfield near Birmingham, and it was 45 minutes into the track. So there is cheap ways to do it if you want to travel, and I understand that. But like, if you want to stay in Cheltenham town, you're going to be paying premium dollar, aren't you? And
Yeah,
that's just the way it is. And um, not quoting anyone, and someone said on IrishRacing.com, like, she said that I've been to a Cheltenham Festival and not a lot of Irish were there compared to previous years. Do you know what I mean? And so they're pricing the Irish out even. Do you know what I mean? So look, I'm sure Mr. Lavender is his name. I'm sure he has a task force and saying how are we going to make this festival cheaper. Um, he has to, and that's just the end of the just my opinion. At the end of the day, he has to. Look, it's all about price. You know the Irish, we like our pint. £7.80 a pint is absolutely ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. Look, it's Guinness. Like you're paying more for a lager. You're paying £7.80 for a pint. That's €10 Irish in our
mm,
book.
mm,
€9, 50, 60, 70, whatever. It's a dear like I don't think an Irishman who's saving up all year, who has a job all year and he's saving. I think a lot of people don't do the 4 days anymore. It's kind of what first 2 days or the last 2 days or one day. Uh, Years ago, we used to do it. You do the whole lot.
yeah.
That day is gone, unfortunately. That's just me. And I think it's you can see people on social media, racing posts, the whole lot, saying that no one can afford the ordinary Joe Sub can't afford the 4 days. And it's sad to see, really. That's just my opinion.
You're looking at like £1,000 for accommodation.
Yeah.
You've got £100 a ticket per day. You know, you're already at 1,500 quid sort of thing for that.
Yeah,
But
like I understand people putting up exactly. Sorry for cutting across there.
no,
I
go for it, go
understand.
for it.
I understand. Now they're putting up thing for early price tickets, right? But like, who's thinking about Cheltenham now when it's done? Like,
You just paid so much to be there
correct.
this
There
week
you
as
go.
well.
And then they're penalizing you if you don't do it now.
Yeah, sure, sure, sure.
Where you pay, how much do we pay? What say, for example, €60 for 2 days in the Dublin Race Festival.
Yeah,
Come
exactly.
on, like,
Yeah,
come
exactly.
on.
That's that's the thing I was going to say. That I think the cost of a return flight to Dublin for the Dublin Racing
Yeah,
Festival works out cheaper than one day at Cheltenham for a
like
ticket.
Yeah.
It's
even including the hotel and stuff for a day, we're
exactly.
right there, and we're paying sort of, I don't know, 80, 100 quid a night, whatever it is,
And
sort of.
Yeah, but
the thing is with the DRF, the last 2 or 3 years, it's only really started getting to a big one where people seem to make that more of the occasion than they do
Yeah,
Cheltenham this year.
Mhm.
yeah. The atmosphere at the DRF as well was just incredible. It was
Yeah,
just obscene this year. Like,
I think they've got it right.
yeah, they have. That's exactly it, Jamie. Exactly. And the thing is, people would rather look. Again, I'm Cheltenham born and bred, but me and my family, we all go over to Ireland for the DRF. Yeah, we didn't attend the festival. Like, I even had free tickets, so that wasn't. But
Mhm.
it was just different this year. There's a different feel about the entire festival. But ultimately, it just comes down to cost. I think we can all
Yeah.
agree on that, can't we?
I
Yeah.
think there's also one more point. I actually arguably think the
Mm.
DRF card is just as good now as the Cheltenham Festival card.
You've got all of the best. You've got all the best horses there. There weren't any that ran at the DRF where that didn't come to Cheltenham or vice versa, were there really any of the big
But
names?
exactly what Scotty's saying there now, and I'll make one point and we move on swiftly. Exactly what Scotty's saying is that about the DRF, the card is just as good, right? Then I see people I'm not criticizing anyone, and people are entitled to their opinion. Is
Sure.
that to saying that, oh, the DRF has a knock-on effect on Cheltenham? I'm sorry, what? What do you want about? It's 6 weeks before Cheltenham. They're
Yeah,
having
yeah,
a run. Look, we all know it's a Winnie Mullins benefit, but I think now looking at the results at Cheltenham, look, the Brahma had two winners. Paul Gordon Elliott only had what one and the last, and look, fair play to people who backed it, and a lot of people are on it. But I think Gordon Elliott and the likes of Gordon Elliott, Gavin Cromwell, and Henry Durant have to look at themselves in their training regimes to say that why can't they take on Willie Mullins at the Dublin Race Festival?
sure,
I
sure,
know they're
sure.
trying to win Cheltenham Festival races. I understand that they've changed their way, but there's going to have to be some way to get them to the Dublin Race Festival because that's what everybody wants.
Absolutely. I mean, look as well. The excuse as well. Not even an excuse. The game plan with Gordo is to get them out early, mop up as many races as he can in
Yeah.
Grade Ones, and then save them for Cheltenham. But Willie
Mm.
Mullins runs them at the beginning of the season. He runs
Yeah.
them at Christmas. He runs them at the DRF. He runs them at Cheltenham. We're going to see half of them at Punchestown and even have a couple at Aintree too. So it can be done, can't it, across the
Of
board?
course, God.
Interesting, interesting. But anyway, look, it was a good week nonetheless. Had some really good performances. But also there's something like with Aintree, we've got 18 days between Cheltenham and Aintree. That's no good.
No, it's not
You
good.
can't prioritise Punchestown when you're in England. You've got to sort of say there's no reason why we can't spread them all out, to be honest, at least 4 weeks between all of them. We just
Mm.
maybe change the calendar a little bit. But look, anyway, we're getting a bit political, which is fine. This is all part of it at the end of the day. It's good to talk about as well, to be fair. But what we're going to do, we're going to go through all of the races then. Fellas, we're going to start off with all of the graded races, and then at the end of each day, we can sort of touch on the handicaps if we want to, if there's anything to say, if there's anything not. Again, thanks to everyone that's tuned in this season. We really do appreciate it. We're here all year round. We're doing the flat season. We are doing the lot. And we've got loads of good plans for the season ahead. I'm having a few connection issues today, so if it does go, the fellas will just carry on and I might jump in and back out. But so far, so good anyway. And we will start from the Michael O'Sullivan Supreme Novices Hurdle, lads. Kopic the board beat William Money by a length and 3/4. Further 5 lengths back to Romeo Coolio. Kind of came around pretty well in fourth, and then bit of a blowout for Work Ahead, who finished dead last. Jamie, we'll start with you here because you put up Kopic the board at 16-1. Obviously, won at a shade of odds on. Well, 4-6. In fact, made a bit of an error at the last, but dead impressive, wasn't he? And I mean, where would you go with him now? What would you want to do with it?
Um, yeah, he was impressive. Was he blown away impressive like he was at the Dublin Race Festival? Quite possibly not, in my book. People might criticize me for saying that, but that's just me.
Hey, it's all
He was
opinions.
a
It's all
good winner.
opinions.
He was a really good winner. Yeah, as I said to you when we were on the group chat before this race started, I said there's only one danger, there's Willie Money, and he was really good, Willie Money. Who was third? Romeo Coolio.
Yeah, solid
Um,
effort.
and they were miles clear of the rest. Whatever about Carnick. Carnick now could win something like a Grade Two novice hurdle Ferry House or something like that over 2.5 miles on before the Grand National meeting in Ferry House there after entry, something like that. Um, Willie Money probably would go to the Grade One in Punchestown maybe against Kopek again. Um,
Been put away for the season.
with Money's gone, unfortunately, he shouldn't be because he'd win that Punchestown Grade One in my book. I think he'd reverse the form. But no, is he next year Arca winner? Quite possibly. Yeah, quite possibly. 5-1 now at the moment. I see the last day. Wouldn't interest me at all at the
No,
moment.
no.
Obviously, he's going to be better on soft ground. The ground was probably quicker than he's ever experienced. But to me, he is a really, really good horse. And obviously, the quotes from Ruby Walsh that I thought he'd win better than that. Yeah, like every horse should win better than that on certain ground surfaces. I think of the softer ground, he probably won exactly the way he wanted the Dublin Race Festival. Remember now, he's his second, third, fourth run of his life. He's going to improve. Would I back him for the Arc of the 5-1? Possibly not. Is he the most likely winner? Maybe, but no. Look, as I said, Joe, it was a different festival this year with the ground changes and people
Yeah.
like with horses running around in soft ground earlier, it all changed. But he must be a good horse if he's running on ground that probably was faster than ideal for him.
Mm.
But no, he's a good horse, and I'm not cribbing him. But yeah, he won me a lot of money. But besides the point, I'm trying to see the future. Um, yeah, he probably next year will get onto another horse. Will face another horse of Gordon Elliott's against him for the Arkle, I think. Yeah,
Talk to me.
the
Yellow
yellow clay,
clay. Yellow
yellow
clay.
clay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, God, I couldn't think of it. Yeah, interesting. He sort of ran through the last as well, to be fair to Kopeck, and he did pick up
Mm.
again, didn't he? I thought when he fluffed that last.
Yeah,
Did,
look, exactly what you're saying. Even though he fluffed the last, he probably would have won by more. But
yeah,
look, you can't discount William Money. His performance was fantastic.
yeah,
Arthur never settled all year. Romeo Coolio hadn't run since Christmas. I think Gordon Elliott needs to look, just wake up and say this just doesn't work. Romeo Coolio is a good horse. There's no doubt about that. Especially when another horse won an Albert Bartlett, who really kicked me in the gut. Really, when in the Albert Bartlett, but we get on to that. But Romeo Cooley is a good horse going forward. He could be a good chaser. Um, they're probably possibly three really very good horses, and Carnicaid can't be discounted for future spring festivals. But would I be in love with Romeo Cooley going right-handed the way he was second in Ferry House of the Right? I wouldn't be. I think he's probably better going left-handed. So maybe Kopek, who when he won that Ferry House bumper, is probably like he's going to be a stupid price, isn't he, for Punchestown Grave on, isn't he?
Yeah, it's like interesting with Romeo Cooley. I don't know what you think it is, Scotty, but like to me, I mean, the obvious route from because he's a chaser all day, isn't he, Romeo Cooley, for a start? He's not going to stay hurdling, but he's got the option now of 2 miles or 3 miles. As simple as that. We haven't got a turners now, so for me, I'd honestly be tempted to step him up and trip. I don't know. I think there'd be a few ahead of him in the Arkle market. I don't know what you think, obviously, about that. Am I just being too hasty on the fact that he's been beaten by Kopek and William Money, or
Um, I thought Romeo Coolio was a 2 mile chaser for next season, if I'm being honest.
yeah, yeah, okay.
I mean, he's a cave by Cave Tara who
Mm,
traditionally produces good 2 mile chasers, the likes of Special Tiara, Edward Stone, who've won champion chasers and Arkles. So it's a very interesting kind of breeding line because Cave Tara does produce stayers as well, the likes of like Ed Wolfe, who won an Irish Gold Cup, Thistle Crack, who won a stayers head than King George. So it wouldn't worry me, that kind of thing. I just think the Romeo Coolio is a chaser for next season. So I'd be half interested in the Arkle. I like Jamie Shout saying the Yellow Clay could potentially be one. Everyone was saying he's a 3 miler. I thought Hollow Games was a 3 miler. A horse Gordon had in bumpers was running over 3 miles. Then he ran in an Arkle, albeit he got lapped in it. But I think Romeo Coolio is one that could make a good 2 mile chaser. Again, William Money, looking forward to seeing him over fences next year. I thought he ran an absolute blinder. Going to be honest, I thought he ran better than I thought he was capable of Lucky Show previously. And I just think it all really pays credit to Kopek de Board on only his third start over hurdles. He reminded me very, very much of my favourite horse of all time, Sam Crow, the way he won. He just seemed to travel into the race, made that awful mistake at the last, got in close to a hurdle, but still had the class to go and win against some very good, quick horses. So I think Kopek's, don't know what they do next year with him, but I think it's very interesting whether he goes. He's going to be like the
yeah.
Ballyburn next season, isn't he? Everyone's going to be latching onto him and show the fancy slips next year when he goes off odds on for the Arkle. Um, I've actually really massive. I'm a massive fan of Carnicaid. I kind of said it before the show. One of the previous podcasts, I thought he'd run a blinder, which he did. I'd be very much looking forward to seeing whether he goes next season, whether it be over fences or maybe over staying over the longer trip over hurdles. I don't quite know, but I never ever thought I'd say this, but I watched the race back, and Salvador Mundi is a stayers hurdle horse for next year. He just screams a 3 mile staying hurdler to me. I just look for a price there to see what price he'd be for the stairs hurdle. The classic example of not good enough over 2 miles, not quick enough,
Mm.
stepping up in trip. I think he'd travel into a race. He's got the ability for sure, but he's just taken off his feet over 2 miles against quicker horses. I think he is a staying hurdle horse for next year. So I'd be very keen to see where they start him next season, potentially in something like the Hatton of Grace or the Christmas hurdle.
Oh,
So
yeah, good
that's
shot.
kind of what I'm looking at for the rest of the horses. I'm not really bothered about Punchestown. We know the form's going to probably hold up with Kopek to board, and Work Ahead will run better at Punchestown, I think, if he goes. He was disappointing.
What happened to
Um,
him?
he
Like, what happened to
Yeah,
he
he was
him?
just
very poor.
he
Very
just
poor.
went out like a light, and he was one of those we said he could be a superstar or he could be bang average, but the form's still there. He's still the form early
Mm.
season ties in with the winners of the race and the second, the third.
Mm.
So maybe it was just a blip, and there was nothing that came out of the race which said he'd
He,
underperformed. The
he
vet
just
said
probably
he was
needs that
perfectly
from.
fine. He was perfectly fine, and like Jamie said, it could just be the ground.
Yeah,
So yeah,
Yeah,
I wouldn't give up on him either.
wouldn't
But
give
for
up.
me, Kopek the board and Salvador Mundi are the two I'm really looking forward to seeing next season again. So
yeah, Workhead's probably one we will see at Punchestown. I can't imagine that
Yeah.
being sort of the end of his season.
I
Yeah,
think Workhead, to be honest with you, I think Workhead, you might see Workhead at entry because the Bromhead targets entry now as well. Yeah.
yeah, okay, interesting, interesting.
Mm.
Yeah, he brought I was going to say Irish Point. That's
In
obviously
the pocket.
yeah, in the pocket, of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
It'll be a nice
Mm.
chaser, mind you. Will Workhead as well, isn't he?
I'd be fabulous chaser because the
Yeah,
Bromhead's better at 2 mile chasers, isn't he? Novice chasers. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, look, really good race to start off. I love the Supreme. A lot of people do. Great to see such a big roar from Mikey O'Sullivan as well. As I said, William Money's going to be put away for the season. Yeah, look, he finally showed that ability that promised to be there, but he'd just been so keen throughout the season. It was nice to the fast, similar to Cargazzi, like she dropped the bit in a faster pace race. It just stopped the keenness and just meant that he could just go and just strut his stuff. And brilliant. Really glad to see him run such a big race and such a notable race for connections and things like that, and bright future ahead. Right, we move on to the Arkle. Bit of a surprise here. Majbro obviously got turned over. Django Bay won at 5-1. Only by night ran a cracker at 25-1. We sort of mentioned this in sort of our previews that she was fast enough to run a race in these sort of Arkles. Scotty, we'll stick with you here. We'll sort of go back and forth like that. What we're going to do as well, lads, from here as well, when we mention a race, at the end of the discussion, I just want you to give me a target of one of the horses, not all of them, but you got to give me one where you think they'll end up next year. Is Django Bay in this, etc. Django Bay picked up the piece as well. He showed a lovely turn of foot for someone that, they say he's like a slower horse, not built for 2 miles, but fortune favours the brave with him, and it paid off, didn't it?
Yeah. Again, it reminded me of a race earlier in the season, different class, but when Matata won, I think it was in November, won the handicap there over 2 miles. Gunsight Ridge was way out the back of the telly, the Waitley horse, and he came from nowhere to challenge, and I backed Gunsight Ridge, I'll never forget that day, and he was coming to win and he fell. But Django Bay did basically the same thing, was outpaced at the top of the hill, and as much stick as Nico de Boinville sometimes gets, you have to give him absolute credit. It was an absolute brilliant ride. He knew what he was doing. He just filled him up at the top of the hill, kind of gave him a bit of a bit like he did to John Bond in the Champion Chase, where he couldn't win on that, but kind of similar ride to get him home. And I'm disappointed with Loda Sud. He jumped the last. I was
Yeah, I bet
shouting.
you are.
I thought I had it in the bag. I thought the mistake I thought was going to come from Madrid came. I said it all season. I just thought Cheltenham would find him out the way he jumps, and it did. Um, but yeah, it was just one of those shock results. It was just like Champ all over again in the RSA all those years ago. But fair play to Nico. It was brilliant, brilliant performance. And I wouldn't give up on Madgeborough. I think going forward, he's a horse that I'd keep on side, maybe possibly for like a Ryanair next year. I don't think he's quite a champion chase horse myself. I got a feeling you might see Madgeborough in the UK next year, running over like the Ascot against Pic D'Orhy, those kind of races. He might send them over here for those kind of things.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't think there's many chances in Ireland. I do um, I do like Only by Night as well, but I just think the horse to take out of the race going forward. Do you want me to tell you now what the long term target is?
Yeah, for anyone in this race, just something to add to the episode, I guess.
Jamie's going to agree, and I know he's already thought about it. Django Bay for the Ryanair next year is a good thing.
Oh God, no.
No? Okay.
Jamie doesn't agree. All right, Connor, Jamie, give us your verdict then, because obviously Madgeborough made that mistake. It's at the dreaded second last. They jump downhill like this. It's well advertised. It's a real tricky fence. He
Look,
did fight
look,
back though,
look,
didn't he?
look, look.
Hit
Right,
us with
I'm
it.
not criticizing anybody. I'm not. I'm not. I take if people are taking the context in the wrong way. What I'm going to say here now, and I believe what I saw. I was worried, and I was really worried about him after what I saw at the Dublin Race Festival. He didn't jump. I like. He didn't jump well enough in Dublin Race Festival for me. He didn't. Um, to me, he's a Gold Cup horse, all day long. Um, I think the problem with Majborough in that race that he didn't have a toe into the race. He took up around the corner and that was it.
Yeah,
And
interesting.
Mark Walsh had no choice but taking on. He doesn't jump quick enough. It's not doesn't jump quick enough for a 2 miler. He can't get his legs out as a 2 miler, and that's it. He's a Gold Cup horse. All that is he Gold Cup class at the moment? We'll see. We'll see down the line. There's no question about that. Django Bay sticks out in my head when we were in the Dublin Race was he couldn't beat handstands on soft ground in the Scilly Isles. So he picked up the pieces like Champ. Remember, you have to remember exactly what Scotty said. Champ won the RSA that year, but Milan Indo won a Gold Cup, and Allaho won 2 Ryanaires, and that was the end of Champ. So to me, Django Bay for King George and a Gold Cup. Oh God, no, a Ryanair. Oh no, couldn't have it in a million years. He was outpaced. He was lucky to win the race. Great ride. You can't discount Nico. Nico, exactly what Scotty says, gets huge criticism because he's an arrogant so and so. His interviews are Nico. I'll put it that way, Chad. I would put a full stop on that. Um, Scotty's horse, if they all don't turn up next year in November, if we're there, he'll win the Stare Chase in a
Oh yeah,
canter, and that's
exactly.
Lillesud. In a canter. I think he will win in a canter. Only by night will win the race that Bright Hill won at Punchestown beating Allegory of Asti, 100%. I backed it on day 25. I couldn't believe it was 25 to 1. Like, it
Drifted
nearly
like
won the race.
drifted
So, I
like a
mean,
barge. And I was like, is
yeah,
something gone wrong? Is she like, what's
yeah.
going
And
on?
who was the fifth horse in the race? Who was the
Touch me
fifth
not.
horse?
Touch me not.
Touch me out. Yeah, yeah, maybe an obvious handicap down the line, maybe a Punchestown or something like that. Is it a good Arkle? It probably might be. It might be. I wouldn't give up Marsborough.
With different
Uh,
targets, like good one, but for
Yeah, yeah.
different
They're
targets.
probably like Ludesud is a slur horse. Only by now is a mare's chase horse when next year, and
Yeah.
it'll go on to Punchestown. Ludesud is sure, sorry, Majbra up and trip. Maybe we might end up in the 3 miler
Mm.
Punchestown,
Yeah.
hopefully, or Powers Gold Cup on Easter Sunday. Touch me as in no man's land, and only by nice man. Yeah, 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 it might be it, but Django Bay. No, no, he wouldn't. He wouldn't. Do you know, you have to forgive a horse, but I don't forgive him for not beating handstands at Sandown. No, no, no. I couldn't have him for King George or anything like that. Oh God, no. Nicky has a better horse for the King George.
I quite like Django Bay. I don't think he's going to win a Ryanair, but I do agree with Scott. I think that's where he might possibly end up. Um, I'll tell you
I
what,
couldn't have him for any either. No, no.
we shall see. We shall see. Good on Liam. This would have made his day, wouldn't it? Shouting Django Bay home. You fancied this,
Oh
didn't
yeah, fair play,
for a
good
long
show.
time. No fair play. I'll tell you what though. Just a word on Nico. Gets so much stick by so many people. I actually think he's a really good jockey. I stand by
But he
my.
doesn't help himself, Joe.
No, I understand that. But when you're the jockey at Seven Barrows, you ride that horse how you are told to ride that horse.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're not like it's not like
Yeah,
say
but don't be a sad sod when you lose for 100 to 1 shot in a
no.
triumph,
I
saying
understand.
because really ran 11. Oh, no, that's sad. Like it is like
I
for
agree.
an established jockey, it's sad. Like look, it's their own fault they couldn't get another run into La Lamba. If they got another run into Lamba, you'd have pissed to try and furl.
I agree with that. I strongly agree with that. They should have ran him in the race that they entered himself and Palladium in. What was the
Yeah.
race?
The
The
Adonis.
Adonis.
The Adonis. Yeah, they should have ran
He
it.
didn't. He
Cool.
didn't have a clue how to race when it came to it, did he? He
Mm.
just found his feet too late in the race and
Yeah,
he was gone. Yeah.
yeah. He really had to be urged. It
And
wasn't.
on that point, we go back to Kopek. Kopek's only danger next year in the Arkle is
Lulamba.
Lulamba.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, get thinking ahead then for the end of the show. Get some 2026 quick picks from me as well, but that's on my radar too. He oh no, we were going to Lulamba. We'll wait. So I'm going off on a tangent a bit. Really, going to start talking about Lulamba. But yeah, look, I like Nico as a jockey. I understand why people don't. I think he's very good at what he does. Anyway, right, let's move on. Lossiemouth winning the Mares Hurdle. Gosh, she just won it in a canter, didn't she? Jamie, just it is what it is, isn't it?
Oh, she's a serious horse. We'll get onto the argument next in the Champion Hurl. It just proves Joe that should go back to the old way when Q Vega won the race. It has to be grade one, and if you have a grade one mare, you have to pay the penalty of a £10, £7 penalty, and that's it. Simple as that.
Yeah, I agree, but I also think it just shouldn't be a grade one.
Mm.
They should cap it at
Yeah.
a certain rating. If you're good enough to run in
You
the
like I
championship,
wouldn't
probably,
cap it at a certain I wouldn't cap it at a certain rating. It's just you should cap it as that if you're if whatever. The problem is like if you try to cap it and you have a penalty,
Yeah.
like last him out now. So if
Oh,
last him out now next year or
get rid
brighter
of the
days ahead wants to run in the mayor's hurdle, they should have a £10 penalty
get rid
and
of the
make it a grade
penalty.
two.
Get rid of the penalty nonsense though. Like, do you know what I mean? That's almost the counter to it. Like, sod the penalty, get yourself in the race where you're meant to be in. I understand we've got the mayor's program for a reason. They
Or
could take
or
they could,
exactly what you're saying, cap it at 150.
yeah, they could take the mayor's races out of Cheltenham even. I'm fully of the opinion now, and it's as a greedy race fan, I want 4 days. We all know the right thing to do is give us a 3 day Cheltenham Festival. That's the right thing to do. We'll get all of the competitive racing back that we are meant to have at the Cheltenham Festival as well. Right then, Scotty. I mean, she just won it easy, didn't she?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was the best 4 to 6 shot you'd ever see in your life, wasn't it? Looking back now. Um, I backed Jay de Grugy in the each way market. got my place money that I thought I'd get. But it was all over. You could see it was all over after the three hurdles, the way she was travelling. It was the
Yeah.
Lottie mouth that loves Cheltenham. Do you know what? It sounds really silly, but I'd scrap all plans for her going forward for any other race. Just go for this race. And by the time she reaches age 10, she's only 6. She'll be going for her seventh festival win to beat Corvega's record, and she will be the all-time winning horse at the Cheltenham Festival. If that's what they want to do with her, it'd be very sad, but it wouldn't surprise me. Um, but
Not a chance.
I am literally begging Cheltenham if they're watching this show. I know they watch the show. Get rid of this. Get rid of the Mayor's Novice. Get rid of the Mayor's Chase. Stick those races on trials day. Make it a bigger card, shorter space in between race times, and for God's sake, just make some changes to the festival to stop these mares having to avoid the champion hurdle and the stayers hurdle. Those kind of races. It's so sad.
That's one point I will make. Actually, Scotty's actually tripped me off there about one point. They have to bring the race times in. You're waiting 40 minutes for the next race. It's
Yeah.
boring.
It was 30, then it was 35, and now it's 40 minutes.
Yeah,
It's a long time,
it's
man,
boring.
to
It's
keep
boring.
non-racing fans entertained, especially when we've got
Uh,
some short price. I'll tell you what, just as well, on another side note, they could
mm.
take the mare's chase and the mare's hurdle to Aintree. Like, they really, it'd be a fine addition for somewhere like there, but I just don't think it's got a place at the China Festival anymore. I think it's, talk to me, Scotty, go on, you got something in mind?
No, nothing to what you were saying. I've just been like you both said about the race times. It just really, really annoys me how it's like 40 minutes. But when you have like the commercial side of it, people I think are starting to lose interest with the ITV coverage. I see
Yeah.
that getting a lot of criticism. And when you've got some guy with a suit pretending he's putting an act on with some lady running around drinking fake champagne and asking people what they're wearing, and then
Yeah.
showing you the jewelry you can buy at Cheltenham, and then they show people dancing in the paddock. It's like we want to see the bloody horses. We want to hear the
Yeah.
betting angles. We want to hear. We don't want to hear everything's a sob story. Things happen to people which are very unfortunate. Everybody knows it's sad, but everything's a bloody story. A horse wins. Someone's postman's auntie's brother's just lost his cat or something. It's like we don't care.
Mm.
This is what we want to see. Cut the race times down. Get rid of the
Yeah.
crap and focus on the horses.
Yeah, like the crap, exactly what Scotty said. The crap, whatever. It's been there for years, even with like BBC coverage of Royal Ascot. If
Yes.
you want Royal Ascot, you have Royal Ascot. If you want the bling, and all that. Cheltenham has never been like that, and they want to bring exactly that crap. Right? It is. It's just crap in my opinion.
I
But
agree.
like
I agree.
Channel 4 would never do that. Never in their million years do that. Look, they're trying to bring the wider audience into in this thing I saw in Racing UK invades and the whole and bringing people. If people want to go to the races, right, and just my opinion over here in Ireland is that they want to bring people in. We have student days for a reason. We have this for a reason. We have X, Y, and Z for a reason.
Mm.
But I don't want to be looking at look. We all like to be dapper at the races. I understand that and enjoy yourself and dress up and ladies' day and the whole lot. But I couldn't like. Do I care what people think when I'm wearing at the races? I couldn't give a cahoots. Do you know what I mean? That's just me.
But we don't want 50% of the coverage between each race to be about fashion, drinks,
They
and
should be talking about horses.
yeah, it should be simple. We finish the race, we get an interview from the trainer and owner, everyone being elated. We start to talk about the next race, then we have plenty of time looking at the horses in the paddocks. You know, it-
Mhm.
they're taking the topic away from horse racing, and that makes no sense to me. I
No.
like I like here they seem to rush the paddock talk now as well. 2 seconds on each horse,
Yeah.
and they go back to a rugby player who's there for the day and who's wearing
I was
this.
going to say, sorry, Joe, I was going to say, I
Mm.
was watching the Gold Cup on the Friday at home, and it was 3 minutes before the Hunter's Chase that they even showed the horses in the paddock and the betting. They
You
didn't
meant
show
you
you
meant
anything.
you mentioned this, I'm sure, in our group chat. I'm sure you
Mm.
mentioned
Yeah,
that
Mm.
I
before.
was livid. I was sitting at home thinking, I'm wasting my time watching this. I'm
Mm.
thinking, what am I here to watch? I don't want to see 1 minute before the off the horses in the paddock. I want to hear about the form. I want to hear about where they ran last time. I want to see what horse goes on what ground. Give us that information. That's what we want to hear.
Yeah.
Sure, sure, sure,
Yeah,
sure.
exactly, exactly. Another thing. Look, I know it was fun. It was fun by what Ruby Walsh did to. It was went viral on X or whatever Twitter. But what he did to Ed Chamberlain
Hmm.
about a bag of jelly tots, right? I know that's fun and it's having a bit of fun, right?
There's
But
plenty
who
of room
cares?
for that, though. Plenty of room for that little tiny snippet.
Yeah,
You don't. You
but
don't
who
need.
cares?
You don't need that, and then it cuts to someone. What are
Yeah,
you wearing? Where did you get your outfit from?
yeah.
And then cut to a rugby player who's just turned up for his day out. That's not.
Or Gemma Collins. My God.
Oh yeah, like again, and that wasn't a very good advert for us, was it? Some of the things that she was saying in there, it didn't really look too good to my eye as well.
Mm.
This is where they should even bring influencers into the camera time rather than celebrities just who haven't got a clue even why they're there. Like, it
Yeah.
just makes no sense. I don't watch ITV anymore anyway. I did for a
Mm.
couple of the races where I wanted to hear a few interviews. It's gone massively downhill again. They're not advertising the beautiful sport that we have the way they should anyway.
If ITV really wanted to be the biggest platform for racing, they could make it interactive. They
Yeah,
give you an
100%.
option like you do on Sky with the sports channels. You can have the option to watch the paddock live anytime you like.
Yeah, sure, sure.
You can put the race on. You can click on watching the trainers. You can watch them, put them on the bottom of the screen as the
Yeah,
race is on. You can see reactions from different areas. That would be brilliant. That kind of
yeah,
thing. You can really interact then. That's the kind of thing they need to do to push forward to make the sport even more enjoyable
yeah.
for people watching at home.
The horses are the athletes. The jockeys are a huge part, and so are the owners, and so are the trainers. So many small syndicate owners there as well that didn't really get enough of a mention.
No.
Look, hold my hands up. They gave Racing Club plenty with
Yeah.
Wendigo, to be fair to
They
them.
did. No, fair enough.
But there's plenty of others that ran good races and things like that, and they had no coverage whatsoever. And it'd have been nice to hear a few bits and pieces like that. Tell the public as well that, these horses had relatives that won here 20 years ago and all of that sort of good stuff, because it's nice to hear. But yeah, look, there's plenty of things to fix, and I'm sure we'll go on a few more rants.
Just one more thing I was going to say,
Okay.
like you said it there about the smaller owners. How many times do we end up seeing Michael Buckley on the telly getting interviewed, asked the same questions? How many
Yeah.
times do we see Richard Thompson from Cheverley Park talking about Allaho?
Yeah.
For God's sake, just stop. We don't care anymore. I don't.
No, no, I agree, agree. Like you said, interview them after, like sort of thing. Just there's plenty of good coverage to be had. Like Jamie said, to be honest, Channel 4 wouldn't have had any of this. That was just top quality coverage all day, every day. I loved it. Right, lads, champion hurdle, full of drama. Constitution Hill went down. Um, State Man then went down at the last. Brighter days ahead. In all fairness, I gave her a massive shout. She was actually beaten by the last. Just she even doesn't like Cheltenham. I know they came out and said they think they found something that caused the bad run, whether it is or isn't. She was beaten by the last anyway. In Golden Ace ran out a 25-1 shock winner from Burdett Road in second at 66s, and Winterfell got 150-1. I listened to Johnny Deneen talk about Constitution Hill, and he said this was coming. And when he said it, I was like, "You're right, this was coming." He's made two big mishaps at the last. He's that good of a hurdler. He said he doesn't give himself much room. Took off a tiny bit too early, and he paid the price for it. The beauty of this, though, we might now see Constitution Hill go to Punchestown. I think if he won the champion hurdle, he wouldn't have. They'd have said, "No, we're good. Like we'll stay in our lane effectively." But I think they're going to come over now. Scotty, what do you think?
I think they will. Yeah. I think they're going to have another roll of the dice. I think it's a grade one that's there for the winning. Would I back against him? No. But would I back him? No, I wouldn't. Just to focus on the race, Joe. I was laughed at when I said State Man was the best each way bet of the whole
Yeah,
meeting,
you were.
even though he had a few to beat. Everyone said, "No, you're talking absolute rubbish," and they were right because he fell. But if he
Yeah,
stood
no.
up, he would have won by 10 to 12 lengths. I thought State Man, and you can probably see why Paul Townend wanted to ride him all those times over Lossiemouth and all the races. He obviously had a bit of a blip earlier in the season, but for me, he ran best race he'd ever ran in his life, and he was just unlucky. But going Constitution Hill, I have a theory on him, and it's been niggling me for a year and a half, nearly 2 years now. 2 years it's been niggling me. He did it with Altior. He stepped him up and tripped to take on Surname, and it bottomed him. He was never the same horse. That race he ran at Aintree when he beat Sharjah at over 2.5 miles took a lot out of the horse, and he has not been the same horse since that race. I think he's got a bit scared. I think he's got it in his mind that maybe he doesn't want to race as much as he used to. I just think that the fire is starting to slowly burn out, and I think that race has something to do with it. Um, would I back him again for a champion hurdle? Not at 7-2. He's going to do what he did last year, win the Christmas hurdle, the fighting fifth, and everyone will go raving mad. But I think there's going to be challenges next year that are going to come and get him. And I think potentially we've seen the best of him.
Yeah, I mean, look, we still, since he came back from having colic and a few other sort of issues like that, I think he had a wind up as well, I believe, didn't he? We haven't seen that performance. Though I don't care what anyone says. He might have won at Kempton, he might have won at Cheltenham, but that wasn't a supreme or champion hurdle performance like we saw previously, was it?
It's not. I mean, it's the same situation for me with Sergino. People are already backing him at 7-2 for the champion chase. The horse nearly died for God's sake.
Mm,
You'd
mm.
have to you'd have to put a gun to my head and make me write out the slip for me to back that for 7-2 for next year for the race. Um,
He ran in one chase as a novice as well, Sir Gino.
I mean, the form again in that race, you
Yeah,
take it with a pinch of salt. I mean,
yeah,
Ballyburns won one, lost, well, hammered one since Rubo, and Loader said that the form's okay, but. I'm just going to be honest. I think Golden Age, they took their chances. Fair play to them. I'm really pleased for them.
Fortune
Um,
favors the brave, doesn't it? This is
exactly. And it doesn't matter what anyone says. And I look back and all the winners throughout the week at Cheltenham that's just happened. Every single horse um, in the first couple of days pretty much had a bit of Cheltenham form, had either ran well there, won, or ran earlier in the season. And she's bloody won at the festival. She beat Brighter
mm,
Days Ahead. She was no right to win the race, really. When if State Man had stood up, she was going to finish second or third. But like you say, if you're not in it, you can't win it. So fair play to them, and I'm
yeah,
very pleased with them. They deserved it.
yeah. Fully agree, Scotty. Well said, mate. Well said. Because like we said, lost your mouth, didn't bother. Golden Ace, they took their chance, and like we say, very obvious. But jumping is the name of this game. It's simple as that. And she jumped, she travelled, she won by 9 lengths. Jamie, hell of a story for Jeremy Scott, isn't it? Lorcan Williams, just like this, in shock, knowing that he just won the champion hurdle. It's just brilliant, really, isn't it? I know it's not none of us,
Oh,
but
fantastic. Look, exactly. Fortune favored the brave. Fair play to Jeremy Scott for taking the chance. Probably wouldn't have won the Mayor's hurdle, obviously. Um, to say that he's probably a bit jubilant now at the moment, getting a bit ahead of himself that he thought he'd catch Statement. Oh, God, no.
yeah, I don't
But
think. I don't
anyway,
think so.
God Almighty, no. Um, Look, we probably think that brighter days ahead, regardless of what they found, it's probably not a Cheltenham horse. It will probably win the entry hurdle. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, I was very disappointed in her. I don't think she, would to say she was right, maybe not. Question about it. King Kingsfield probably didn't tour enough into the race. If you want to crib it, very crib.
Needed to
But
go much further than that.
made much further, much
Yeah,
faster, and it never did. And probably they knew that King of Kingsfield couldn't do that. Um, no, I would never back her again at Cheltenham ever again after that. She's just not a Cheltenham horse. It's not a Cheltenham horse. To say she's not a Grade One horse is wrong, but she's not a Cheltenham horse. And look, some horses just don't act around Cheltenham.
yeah,
Constitution Hill will win at Punchestown. Yeah, I think it will. To say then, I hope people now will rein their neck in, and that's just me. And I'm going to be really, really, really harsh here now. Look, we all saw the greatest performance of all time in the Supreme, and people are still waiting for that performance again, and you'll never ever see that again, and I'll stand by that. It was fantastic performance to beat John Bond that year into Supreme, an outstanding performance. But to say that horse is the greatest hurdler of all time, people want to rein their neck in now, and I'm getting sick of it. It really bugs me that to say this hurdle horse is the greatest hurdler of all time. Give me a break.
yeah. We
Seriously, no, I'm getting sick of it. Oh, Constitutional Hill, Constitutional Hill. No, it's boring. He'll never be Istabrak. He'll never be any power. He'll never be Hurricane Fly for longevity.
we've
Get
said
out your
that all.
cotton wool and your barbed wire and your plastic bubble wrap. Not a hope in hell,
Yeah,
and
and
he
look,
never will be. Look, he might be a sprinter sacker, come back and win a champion hurdle and no one around 3 years later. Fair play to him, but he's not the greatest hurdler of all time.
yeah,
And people stop now. Stop.
yeah.
Can we put an end to it, please?
Look,
Um,
Dave, you've to be fair, you've received a lot of stick about this all year because
yeah,
you're Irish. I've been
yeah,
saying exactly the same thing as
yeah,
you, and we're not saying anything that isn't factual here. People
yeah,
that think we're being unfactual about what we're
yeah.
saying, again, need to really
100%.
ask themselves the questions here. Like we
Yeah,
said, we have not seen Constitution help it in a supreme performance or a champion hurdle performance
yeah.
since those days. Bottom line, that is a fact. There's no
And,
nothing
and
about.
and at the end of the day, Joe, the problem is maybe is that people saw the day the Supreme and thought he'd be like that all the time.
Yeah,
And
sure,
and,
sure.
and horses just don't do that.
Yeah.
Um, But
And
longevity wise, he will never ever be near the greatest
yeah,
hurler of all time.
That's the thing, isn't it? In any sport, people set world records. Basically, Constitution Hill set a world record. Usain
Mm.
Bolt set a world record in 2009, and he never broke it again until
yeah.
he retired, and that was 7, 8 years. It's
I,
very hard. It's
yeah.
absolute peak performance, which you can only do once in your career.
Look,
In any
I mean, like I like Johnny Delaney. I think he's a nice guy, and he's entitled to his opinion. But to say from a man who's standing on bookies for years and said that this horse is the greatest hurler of all time is is just looking for clickbait, in my opinion,
he might
because
be
he's not.
he might be the most talented,
Yeah,
but he's not the greatest. Like
no.
again, there's been a lot of stick thrown at us all season long, and people suddenly think that we don't like Constitution Hill. You're mad. We're horse racing
Mm,
fans. You want to see the best performances every single day of the week. But if you're factual about the scenario,
mm,
he hasn't done what we've expected. Now, look, he might go to punch us down and blow us away again. But he's
yeah.
still to this point, whilst we're recording this,
Mm,
has not done it yet. It's as simple
mm,
as that. Yes, he would have beaten Brighter Days Ahead. Me and Jamie
yeah,
were on side of Brighter Days Ahead. We're not disputing that now from what we saw of her. But he has not put in that performance yet. I'd love to
no.
see him do it again. Love to.
Yeah.
Absolutely love to. Get that bit on tape because we've had a lot of stick about it all year. Look, but he has not proven he is the greatest. He might be the most talented. Is he the greatest? No, he's not, unfortunately. Hurricane Fly had 21 something grade ones and did it every single
Mm.
year. Istabrat kept coming back and beating top class horses.
Hurricane Fly was beating the likes of Jetski, Al Connor, Solwit, Thousand Stars, proven
Other
horses time
Correct.
after time. And
other
Constitution Hill's beaten Rubo, Nemean Lion, and State Man once.
And
great
technically,
performance.
Scotty jet ski has the record for the champion hurdle because it wasn't receiving £7. Obviously, any power is the record in the champion hurdle because of receiving £7. But take the £7 with jet ski, who ran off level weights, as I say, without a mare, has the record in the champion hurdle. So to say that Constitution Hill could beat them, maybe could at a peak Constitution, of course. But a peak Constitution Hill against a £7 Faheen or £7 against any power, oh God, no. No, that's
You
just
think
my
going back,
opinion. I might be getting stick for it, but
just
No,
to
going back
me,
one more time, like Hurricane Fly when he won his first champion hurdle, he beat the likes of Peddler's Cross, who
Peddler's
was
Cross,
proven Grade One horse.
Oscar
Uh,
Whiskey.
Oscar Whiskey, those kind of horses who went and came back time after time and won Grade Ones,
and the
Mm,
and then
thing
he
with
came back 2 years later and still
yeah,
mm,
regained the champion
and
hurdle.
he
Do you
would
know
do
what I
it.
mean?
He would do it both sides of the water. Remember when he beat
yeah,
Arconnor and Arconnor like
yeah.
loomed up and Hurricane Fly just found again like
And our Connor that year, that great champion Earl would have
yeah,
probably won the champion Earl if he stood up.
absolutely.
So,
That
do you
is
know
what you call greatness.
what I mean?
21 grade ones year in, year out,
Yeah,
both sides of the water, beating all of the top horses. Let me just as well get this on record, just to confirm, we are not happy that Constitution Hill fell. Okay, we're just being factual. But
yeah.
it's important.
I
He
backed
could have
him.
won it. He could have won it.
Yeah, look, it's really important to be factual in this game. It really is because people just seem to take things way out of context. But look, it was eventful and take away nothing from Golden Ace. Like we said, jump is the
Mm.
name of the game. Really good performance. She's now won the Mayor's Novice Hurdle and she's now won the Champion Hurdle. Fair play. Great to see Jeremy Scott with that on his resume as well. Hopefully, he'll get a few more nicer horses as well. Okay, so that wraps up day one. We'll just have a brief look. The Ultima, we had Meertown one. It's funny, isn't it, how the Whistle Stop Tour was the one that Lucinda was banging on about,
Mm.
for a long, long time. Turns out on the day, Meertown, 25 to 1 into 13 to 2, managed to get the job
Seriously
done.
impressive. It was impressive.
Unbelievable, wasn't it? It really was a smart performance. And it's quite ironic as well that the Changing Man finished second again. I know he managed to
Again.
obviously get his head, but isn't that interesting? Anything to say there, really, lads? Or
Yeah. The voice of England was made for put your hands together.
was he in the Boodles?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he said it'll win. Plot. Look, sure, you know yourself and the Fred Winter, the Bulls, whatever it's called now. It was a plot job all year. I suppose we were sick about now is the year. Would it have beaten Haughty Colors in the National Chase? Probably not. But would have got our place money, unfortunately. Keaton will give it a great ride. Unfortunately, tipped up in the second last. Haughty Color was a good winner. Town, I don't know, maybe a Scottish National. Probably with that. Who's the other one? Put your hands together. God knows, Boodles winners don't do much really. Haughty Colors. What are you going? I think what Rebecca Hurd said Irish National, wasn't it?
Great to see.
Uh,
Fair play to us.
yeah,
Send them
very
over.
good to see. Yeah, British runners. That's what we want over here, Joe.
Mhm.
To take on the Irish. bring the British runners over,
Yeah,
make it
good
more
on it.
competitive.
Yeah.
Um, but that's about it for day one. Yeah.
Anything on the handicaps there, Scotty?
I've got one horse I'm going to mention. Um, I normally look every year. My pilgrimage is to look for the Hennessy Gold Cup winner at Newbury, the Coral Gold Trophy. A horse that I said to you, you should back each way at 66 to 1 in the National Hunt Chase, and he finished second at 16s, and that's Rock My Way.
Oh,
Mm.
brilliant. Yeah, yeah. Okay, fair
I
play.
think he's one I've earmarked for the big race in November at Newbury. He's got some solid form there, and I think that kind of race would suit him. So he's one which I'm going to stick in my new season 25-26 season anti-posts.
Yeah, look,
And for and for the flat, Hot Fuss has a chance in the Chester Cup.
yes. Didn't he run a brilliant race, to
Yeah,
be fair
yeah,
to him as well?
yeah.
But yeah, there's a note for you then as well. We've rocked my way from Scotty. We've seen what he's given us months before with likes of JPR1 and stuff. So worth getting that one in your trackers as well. Right then, lads, we'll move on to day two. I think we're enjoying this a bit much. We spent ages on that, but who cares? We'll just keep rolling with it as it is. The Turners, fair play. The new Lion was blimmin' brilliant, fellas. I didn't expect this, I got to be honest. And when he drifted from 6 to 4 out to 3 to 1, I thought the writing was on the wall then. I said, well, he's not winning this. He obviously doesn't look as fit as some of the others. And the market's sort of correcting itself now. But yeah, 3 to 1, the new Lion. The yellow plays second by 3/4 of a length. One of my sort of big fancies of the day. I did put him up each way and he was backed well in. I thought, here we go. And got touched off. And then final demand, 4.5 lengths back in third. Jamie, interesting race, wasn't it? Nice to see JP repaid for all of that money he spent. I don't care what anyone seems to think. He can buy what he wants if you got that money. Whoever tells you what to buy with your money, you know?
I know you should have taken the 750 grand off Wendigo.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, um, we'll move on. No, he's really good. I said it on the preview with who were we on second there? Jesus Christ!
Day
I can't remember.
two was
Daff was it? Was it Daff and Sean Dunn? Yeah. I took a U-turn, Joe, and I took a 360. I just saw it.
good one.
Look, the ground probably, regardless of the ground, he's won on soft ground at Chepstow to start the season, and the ground was decent enough at Newbury maybe a week when ago. Um, I just saw something, and yeah, he's really good.
Yeah.
It was my only, was it my only, probably one or two bets. I backed him already for the champion earl. I
Yeah.
backed it at
Okay.
10 to 1. I think
Mhm.
he's a champion earl. I
Yeah.
said it. I goes, look, my old rule came in to focus in my brain when the brain works, the odd time it works. That the old Ballymore Neptune thing, champion hurlers wins this race. They always do. Faugheen and all them. You come
Even
back,
even
the
Perry
new
Pass. He's got speed.
Perry, yeah, the new one
Yeah.
probably could have won a champion earl if he's unlucky that Ewan O'Connor fell
Hardy
and
Eustace,
Hardy Eustace. They've all
Istabrack.
Istabrack. It's
There
a
we go.
champion hurdler race. Uh, and yeah, he's really good. I think he's a class horse. I really he was to me. Look, you crib looking at the way you're thinking and all these horses have won at Cheltenham. To be honest with you, this is the one giving me the most kick.
Yeah. Enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
I really think he's a fabulous horse. Skelton could have won by more.
Yeah.
He just could have won by more.
He rode him really well though to make sure there were
He
no
rode him really well.
errors. He was like,
Yeah,
right, I'm getting at least what we know you can do out
yeah,
of you,
yeah,
and they can push for more if
yeah,
need be. And he'd done them for speed, didn't he? Whereas the
yeah,
other two might go up in
yeah.
trip maybe next year.
Yeah, yeah. He just jumps like a champion hurler. Yeah, he's really good.
Jamie's getting excited here,
Oh,
Scott.
I'm getting excited. I think I think next year, and I said it afterwards when we were inside and we are talking to the lads, and I said next year's champion hurler is the 2 horse race, and then they were like, "What? No constitution? No this." That I said it's between Lassie Mode and the new Lion. Yeah, I think it's going to be a shootout between the two of them. I really do because the Lassie Mode's a Cheltenham horse. She's proved it now.
Yeah, yeah,
Now again. She has the speed for a champion earl, and he does too. I think it's between the two of them. Yeah.
love that, love that.
Yellow clay. Yeah, I think maybe an Arkle. They might say, hopefully, we'll get on to certain things after it. They might bring back the Turners. They should. That's just my opinion. And final demand is a brown horse. Yeah.
Yeah, I was disappointed with Final Demand. I know he wasn't far back, Scotty, but I was still expecting a little bit more. The fact that the yellow clay brushed him aside so easily as well, even though I fancied him, I didn't think it was going to be sort of as easy as that.
I was just worried about him, Joe. Early doors, I thought he was jumping big. He seemed
Okay.
like he wasn't travelling like he can. I just think he's very dependent on soft ground. I think he just needs heavy ground, soft ground. If you get it over like in Ireland next year, he's going to win. He's going to mop up all those small races, win at the DRF, and come for the Browns next year and be a short price and probably get beat unless the rain comes. I think he's that kind of horse, but I just think, like Jamie said, he's nailed it there. The speed horses normally outdo the stayers in the
Yeah.
race. We've seen it in previous years. I'm not going to repeat what Jamie said, but he's 100% right. And if there is a bet for next year at 6-1, the new line is an absolute brilliant each way bet, even at this stage for the champion hurdle. He's going to go off 10-1, you can get.
Yeah, I got tens. Yeah, I backed
Got
him.
tens.
Can you still get tens now? We not.
No, I backed him on. I backed him on Thursday evening after when Johnny Hoover got paid.
So, I mean, I think the yellow clay as well really, really thought he was a 3 miler. I think he's a versatile horse. I think he could be good at two, two and a
Yeah,
half, and 3 miles.
I agree. I agree. I
I
love that.
think he could run any trip and run a brilliant race. Whether they stay herding or go chasing, I imagine they'll go chasing with him next year. And I don't think he's a 3 miler. I think Jamie's right. Could be an Arkle horse. Nothing wrong with dropping back in trip. And yeah, very excited about him. The horse I'm actually really keen on seeing again is 40 Coats. I know he was a massive price. He finished fourth for Henry de Bromhead. He just screams a 3 mile chaser for me. He could
Yeah.
be a horse that could win a maiden, a bit like Lecky Watson this year, go under the radar and be a very similar profile for the Browns next year. So wherever he runs early doors next season, he'll be in my tracker, and I'll be keen to watch him in a beginner's chase, hopefully next year.
Well, going on to the Browns then, I'll tell you what, I was bitterly disappointed with Better Days Ahead. I'd been really sweet and quite bullish on him that we are going to see this brilliant performance at Cheltenham, which never came. Ballyburn was disappointed. But like you just said there, Scotty, Lecky Watson, I'll tell you what, I suddenly bloody love this horse. I do. He won at Naas, then he won the Grade 3 at Punchestown, and now he's won a Grade 1 at Cheltenham. I don't know about you boys, but I think he's gone under the radar the whole time. This is a Gold Cup horse, isn't it?
Yep, I
No,
said I was sitting in the pub
no.
watching with my friends,
Hold wait your
and
turn.
I said to my friend Matt Barker before the race, they're in the paddock. I looked at him and I said, Lecky Watson is going to run a big race here. Watch this. And like an idiot, I didn't have a penny on him, and I was kicking myself because I've watched him all season. He just, if you're going to have a bet like in a race like this, Ballyburn is odds on. Lecky Watson's 20-1. Lecky Watson was a guaranteed stayer, brilliant jumper. He's proven how well he can jump. It's the stupid after timing, hindsight, all that
Yeah,
stuff. That's what it is. You should never be put off by a price for anything. If you think a horse is going to run well, it doesn't matter how many runners there is. Each way, 7 runners, you can't do it. Just stick a few quid on him just to win.
Sure,
And,
sure.
and he's blown them away. Disappointing in the race with Dancing City. It was just a classic case of a back to Ante-Post, and I didn't think he was going to win on the day. He drifted out to 9-1, and I
Yeah.
didn't back something else in the race. I just stuck with it. It was my own fault. But going forward again, I think Lecky Watson could be a good horse. Is he a Gold Cup horse? Probably not quite for me, and he has to go improve it again.
Mm.
I just don't think the strength of the race was that good, if I'm being honest. I think Ballyburn will be back in trip, 2.5 miles next season, Ryanair horse. Dancing City is an Irish kind of national horse. Maybe not this year, maybe next year. Grand National kind of horse needs a trip. Better days ahead. I don't know where you go with him, Joe. To be honest, I was
Yeah, I'm not
disappointed
sure.
like you.
Yeah.
But no, for me, I think it could turn out to be a half decent race in time, but I think you'll see all the horses go different ways to each other.
Yeah, I think it might turn out to be a nice race in time when they've all got their act together. But Jamie, like you obviously disagree. I really like this performance. I thought Lecky Watson was brilliant. Also, when you sort of responded to that, Ballyburn, does he not all of a sudden look a little bit tripless as well at the same time?
Nah, he's a hurdler. He's a stairs hurdler.
They're not going to send him back though, are they? They're going to
They
push.
will.
Do
They will.
you think? I
They
think they're
will.
going to stick with fences a little bit longer. I feel they.
They might go to Punchestown. They finally realise that he can't jump fences. He's stairs hurdlers all day long. He's stairs hurdlers.
What about Lecky
Um,
then? You didn't like this performance in Lecky because I thought
no, it's the worst
Lecky.
brown advisor I've ever seen in my life.
Oh God, I loved it. I did, and
I tell you what race he'll win. He'll win the JN Wine Chase at Down Royal
is
in
that
November.
is that what that Total Recall one?
No,
No, this one's the one
Envoy
that
Allen.
Envoy
Envoy
Allen
Allen.
goes at Down Royal early
Oh,
season.
okay, yeah, yeah, sure, sure.
I thought, I agree there they did. I was kind of in bed on Wednesday night and I was lying down listening to Price Wise and Keeley and in the know and I agree with Price Wise. Like, do these horses know how to jump? And I totally agree with him. Um,
Yeah, because
It
Stella's
it
story's the
was
same, isn't it?
one
He's
of
not
the
great.
worst races, Joe, I've ever. I look, I'm Ballyburns #1 fan, right? It was one of the worst brown advisories. Look, you have to put into context, right? No English horse ran in the race. It'll tell you it screams out it's the worst race ever to be seen.
Yeah,
Grade one at
fair
Cheltenham.
point, fair point.
Dancing City, as we said, the old rules. I was strong on that. The old rules of a national hunt chase. He'd have won that. Better days. I don't know what you're going to do with him.
No idea. No
Lecky Watson's not a Gold Cup horse. Ballyburns is a stairs hurl horse. Oh my God, it was terrible. It was boring. It was terrible.
It was
Just as me.
boring. That's interesting because I give you that. I 100% give you that. It wasn't full of
It was.
excitement, was it?
It was. It was. Look, as the Irish say, shite. It was terrible, and look, it put me pure deflated. This is what's going into next year's Gold Cup crew. They haven't got a hope in hell of even being fucking placed in the Gold Cup.
If you're at home and you're Ben Pauling, watching that Browns, you're hiding
And
behind your son.
exactly, and Scotty's after tipping me over the edge. The jukebox man would have won by half the track.
Yeah, look, it's big shame.
Handstands would have had a chance in the race as well, I
Yeah,
think.
100%. Even on good ground, handstands would probably won that race. Um, the jukebox man would have won by half the track.
Yeah, I agree. You would, all things considered, before he jumped and stuff and didn't get
Yeah.
brought down or anything.
It, it'd have been like you know the way Lecky Watson came along in the second last. Jukebox man and Ben Jones have been waving to the crowd. It was over. Like he was he'd have been so far clear. He'd have won by half the track.
Yeah, it's a big shame that he wasn't there in hindsight.
It's a shame, yeah, because he'd have been a great winner.
Definitely, I agree. I agree. Look, I'm going to give Lucky Watson a bit of hope here, but I fully appreciate everything that you two are saying. Like, the fact there was no British runner, the fact it
Mm.
wasn't a fully exciting race. But I will give him the benefit of the doubt. If he can back this up at Punchestown, then I'll give him the hope that he could
I'll
be
take him out of Punchestown.
cool. We'll have a beer on. I'll just say he wins if he turns up, and we'll have a bit of fun. Right, cross country next, then, lads. Only quickly on this one. Underrated ride, I'd say here from Keith Donoghue. He looked in big trouble at one point, but this just shows how well he knows Stumptown. He knew that there was still something left in that tank. Didn't panic when he let late night pass, and the Goffer, I think it was that went ahead. They were both. I think it was them two that went in front at the one point. Didn't panic. He knew what he had left. Blimmin' good performance, Jamie, wasn't it? Really, considering the weight as well.
Yeah, it was great to see Joe. Mr. Tipstar said to me in his Telegram group he was delighted. We called it the Tralee double, where you've been here before.
Oh yeah,
We
yeah.
all backed the double, Stumptown and Jazzy Matty. We were delighted. It's great to see. Look, for such a small town here, we've owners obviously from here that I know from Tralee that owns Stumptown. And there's owners here that who bought Jazzy Matty off the Colbert Construction, and he's trained by Jazzy Matty. Obviously, he's trained by King Collins, who's not far from here, from where I'm from, and obviously Stumptown is trained by Gavin Cromwell, who a lot of people when I was there just after COVID, a horse that I had a leg in with Gordon Elliott. My horse won off your Rocco won a listed hurdle in Limerick. Stumptown won his maiden hurdle over 2 miles that day. He was 14 to
Oh
1,
no way.
and I knew the owners, and we were all there, and it was a great day. And fair play to him. I think he's found his niche, and fair play to him. That look, a lot of people here will. I'm not going to be criticize my local people that I know, but he's absolutely no chance in the Grand National. That's just me. He'd be ran off his feet in a Grand National, different kind of niche, but he's found his niche in the cross country, and more luck to him. And fair play. It was I'm delighted for people from where I'm from, and it's great to see. I was delighted. I thought he was beaten. And you have to remember now, when it comes to Grand National, that he was legless winning that cross country
Yeah.
at the end. But it was a good day.
Yeah, look, we've said it's quite close as well this year, the Grand National. I actually really fancy him now. I think the national.
Oh my God!
I think it's more.
Have I not told you about winning the National?
No, I understand, but it's more of a glorified cross country chase now with they're more like brush fences and like you said, the concern is how much has that taken out of him in such a small space of time, and the same can probably be said with Vanillier. I actually really like Meeting of the Waters for the Grand National this year at 25 as well. I think it's a
Now
belter
you're
of a
talking.
price at the moment, a belter of a price. Sneaks in bottom of the weight, but we've got another show coming for that in a few weeks' time. Scotty, Stumptown, brilliant performance, right?
Yeah, man. I thought he was one of the bankers at the meeting. Didn't back him, of course, just the way my week went. I ended up backing Vanilla each way, and yeah, he nearly ended up in the Guinness Village and stayed on like a train. So I'm just quite laugh. I could laugh now. I wasn't laughing at
Good,
the time. I
good,
trust
good,
me,
good.
but no, Stumptown was brilliant, and Jamie's talking rubbish. He's got a massive chance in the Grand National.
Absolutely no chance. I'll take you on any day. You won't even be placed.
Grab the field against it, like. Right
I'll
then,
have the field against it. Yeah, yeah. Hold on now, drum roll.
right, lads, just he
Here
did.
we go. Here we
He
go. Here we
actually did
go.
it.
We cribbed the poor man when he said the greatest 2 mile chaser in Ireland.
He
He's still not the greatest 2 mile chaser in Ireland, by the way. But anyway,
he is. He is the best two miler in England and Ireland. He's won the Supreme. He's gone and won the champion chase. Everyone said he couldn't do it. Oh, he's got these wind issues. No, he's always had his head carrots out since his bumper debut. Oh, he's got issues. He's had multiple wind ups. No, he hasn't. He's only had five chase
where
starts.
Joe? Where did he win his bumper?
Oh, Killarney.
Like Killarney, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I was.
exactly. In
That
the
was the
county
day.
of Kerry.
That was the day I became obsessed with him. Jamie beat the man driving Devan who never.
Oh, the
Obviously,
man
only did.
driving Duvan. I was there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I backed Marine National that day.
But lads,
I
lads,
didn't back him doing a champion chase, though.
lads, just hear me out, right? Marine Nationale just won the champion chase by 18 lengths.
And
18 lengths, sprinted up that field, sprinted up that Cheltenham Hill, left the
Victorious would have
field,
beaten him.
left the. No, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't. He had headed Calixios at that last jump. He had jumped over the last fence, taken off before Calixios, and his speed figure is better than anything in that race. We saw him at the DRF, saw a glimpse of what he could do, and we realised, oh, hang on, Sean, you've left a bit much of a gap there for Solness. Lads, Marine Nationale has just won the champion chase by 18 bloody lengths. And the world
Hold
said he
on now.
couldn't do it. The world
Hold
said
on
he
now.
couldn't do
Hold
it.
on, hold on, hold on. Right. Can he back it up?
We shall see. We shall see. But he had just won the Queen Mother Champion Chase
Oh,
by
yeah, 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 yeah,
18
yeah. Yeah.
lengths.
Okay, we know.
Now,
Yeah, yeah. On soft ground, what do you want by 18 lengths?
people have called Barry Connell delusional. People have said Marine is a
Well, we
myth.
all know he's deluded now, Joe.
People have said
That's besides the point.
people have said Barry's delusional. People said Marine couldn't breathe. People said Marine was a moose.
He got his ground.
I just can't believe it, lads. I can,
Fair play.
but I can't. This was just
Can we make a quote? We make a quote, right? I'd make a quote, right? And we were there, and my father was next to me, and we go, we, and all of a sudden, then, right, we came in and we sat down, and the bear came in, and the bear was quiet, and I said to my voice of England, because what are you on about? The bear came in and boom, slammed the fucking thing down to the ground. And he goes, "I'm with Ginger Joe." Be like, what?
oh
What?
man,
And
honestly.
and then the bear goes, I said, "What are you on about, Tom?" He goes, "I'm with Ginger Joe." And he still hasn't said it. Like, he's got his ground. Marine National's a certainty.
He is the
Me.
fastest horse over 2 miles you will find on this sort of surface. It's
Can
not
I
even up
just
for debate.
can
But
I just say
my crib is before I get to Scotty. My crib is if John Bond stood up and jumped the mile, he'd have been.
I'm not sure. I don't know. Don't
Oh,
know.
you would have.
But it's jumping. They've got to jump the fence, James. No? Mansbro would have beat Django Bay.
No.
yeah.
Constitution Hill would have gone east. Lads, honestly,
Would
this.
I have a shout after the race? Go on away.
Yeah, that's fine. Look, this was honestly one of the best days
Fair play. It was a great
of
performance.
my life. Unbelievable. And again, without getting too, I voice noted Scotty. I think I voice noted in our group as well. I was literally in tears. I just found it incredible. I don't care.
Joe, you were nearly in tears inside the Dublin race with your
Oh,
mother.
I know. Look. I honestly don't care what anyone thinks. This made me cry, and I loved every
It was
single
fair
minute of
play.
it.
It was a great performance. You can't crib him.
He's a horse that has given me almost an in to the racing world in the sense that I put my neck on the line to say he'd win that Supreme from the very day he won that Killarney bumper. I don't say things like that often, and I shout all the
There's
things
not
he.
great horses running Kerry.
Well, there we go. And I shouted about it all season, and it came off as unbelievable. Then obviously things didn't go to plan after he won his beginners chase at Leopardstown. But then, that's when all the
No,
slack started. I
from
contacted Barry, and this is, it got me an in with Barry to the point we even text now, to the day we text just casually. He got me an in to go and spend the summer and the winter months to go visit Marine Nationale, to let me put some content out there as well, to
yeah.
get me close to Mikey O'Sullivan, who was the man in the saddle that made this horse what he is today. People wonder, like, why I love this horse so much. He's literally given me so much in the sport, and that's the bottom line of things, really.
But coming up, Joe, what coming up behind him? There's no reason why you can't win back-to-back championships.
Exactly. Who knows? He will need his
I'd love to
back,
see him
though.
now in a Tingle Creek to back it up.
Oh, it'd
That's
be amazing. Yeah, it'd be amazing. Like he is going to go to Punchestown. I think there's talk of Factor File dropping back to take him on, which will be a real test as
I
well.
don't understand that at all. But anyway, we'll move on
No,
to
I
that.
agree. I agree. Look, and Marine does need his ground. That's no secret. Okay, that is fact. He does
Well,
need
there's no rain here, so you're fine.
good, good, good. He needs good to soft or faster, but he hasn't got all of these issues that people are claiming. He'd only had 5 chase starts up until then. When John Bonnet had X amount, Solness had had like 17 starts. Pickle, any horse you like in the race, they've had tons of starts in comparison to Marine. He just got better and better, and it came to the boil at the right time. All came to fruition. Bloody brilliant. I absolutely loved it. Go on then, lads. Talk away. Jamie.
Yeah, exactly. I'll move on quickly. I say everything in the race. In fairness, one thing I will say exactly. People laughed at you about Marine National. We all did, not being smart. And people laughed at quickly Johnny Deneen about Quixilios. He gave him a chance. They were
Mm.
both there jumping last, and it would have been a great battle up the hill, but Marine would
Oh,
have beaten him. You could see Marine was going away.
yeah.
John Bond came second. He's not a two-miler, and if they might finally realize that. I backed John Bond for the King George already.
Interesting.
That was my bar the new lion Ante-Post bet. John Bond to me is Shishkin 2.0.
I
I
see
backed
that
it
now. I see
at
that now.
25 to 1. I backed it for the King George, took a chance. Um, if you look at it, Joe, look, obviously the horse is on left handed. All John Bond's best performances, exactly like Shishkin did. They're all right-handed.
Mm-hmm.
Ascot chases,
Sandown.
Sandown, Tingle Creeks. John Bond will win the King George if he runs in it. I've no doubt about that. He has the 2 mile pace to keep up. They'll go obviously a little bit slower if it's 3 miles. I'm all over John Bond for the King
Yeah.
George.
I like
I
that. I
think
like
they
that.
finally realize, look, he might be a Ryanair horse. He might be a Gold Cup horse. He's not a champion chaser. The people putting up for a champion chase next year, he will never win a champion chase. Ryanair, yeah, maybe if Factor File goes up, down in trip, yeah.
Hmm.
Maybe Gold Cup, but John Bond to me is Shishkin 2.0, and he's going to win the King George. And if I hope he runs, and I think he's a certainty for the King George.
Yeah, I love that. I might even have a few quid on myself now you've sort of said about it. So I agree. He probably stays right by Walk in the Park. They've just had a
Yeah,
winner of the Gold
he's
Cup.
nailed on, and all he's going to win the whatever if he has a trouble campaign or whatever, and
Yeah.
things don't go to plan. Obviously, he'd probably go to the Tingle Creek now next year, first time out, probably win that. But then he might go Ascot. If he doesn't go to Tingle, he go to King George. But he's definitely going to win the Ascot Chase in February. He's nailed on for that. He'll win that if he doesn't win the King George.
It's one of those things as well, Jay, minute. Like we'll go to the King George bolt up and everyone will be like, we bloody knew it all along, but it'll be
Yeah, but he'll win
too
the
late
King
by
George.
then.
Like if he runs the King George, he'll win the King George.
Love it. I'm gonna have a few quid on that myself.
Yeah.
Scotty, brilliant race, wasn't it? Like just
Can you see that name?
Well,
Sam Crow.
I
thank
was
you. Right.
he's to me what Marine National is to you.
Yeah,
I
yeah, I
stuck
know
my
you
neck on
love
the line
him.
for him for the Ballymore those years ago, and I actually did what the Tommy the Bear did. I text my friend and I said, here's 20 quid, stick it on Marine National. I just think
Yeah,
he's gonna. I just had a feeling it was his time. You know, when you just the ground like everything came in his favour. I looked through the race and after 2 fences, I knew Solness was gone. He was my main hope in
Yeah.
the race, and Marine was probably like a bit of a sentiment bet, but at the same time, I still had a bit of expectation about him. And
Sure.
I'm nowhere near as big a fan as Marine as you, but I've always been a fan of the horse since the Supreme. And I said to you in the point, nothing would please me more than to see him win the race.
You did. I will
So,
give you that. You're the only person I know that said, "Look, I blimmin' love this sort of thing." Like, you know.
s- uh, so yeah, I phoned you after the race, and basically, yeah, when Sam Crow won the Ballymore is how you felt when
Yeah,
Marine
yeah,
won the champion chase. It was just fantastic to see. But yeah, I think Jamie on John Bond, I think he's got a good point. I think the King George could be a nice target for him. Totally agree with that. I think he'd have a cracking chance on a very nice anti-post bet. Jamie's on at 25s there, but yeah, I'm just really happy Marine won. And I know Liberty Hunter, going to quickly touch on him. No one's going to speak about him. If he would have stood up, he may have finished second. He was going well in the race. He's a 9-year-old, probably lost his chance now for a champion chase in the future. But I thought he was another one to keep an eye on, maybe for the rest of the season, especially if he gets some soft ground, maybe earlier in next season if he runs no Schliber chases, that kind of thing. But no, it's all about Marine for me, and I'm buzzing you one for you, Joe, as well.
yeah.
So
Nice one, Scotty. Blimmin' brilliant. Like we said, we had the wannabe champion in second, John Bond. We had last year's champion, Captain Gibbs in third. Marine National got it done. I spent every fortnight going out, walking with him in the field, watching him roll in the sand on the gallops. Amazing stuff. Then, of course, we had Jazzy Matty.
I'll go as far as saying it was. I was going to say I'll go as far as saying it was even my highlight of the week. I was that happy he won the race for
Yeah,
sure.
good stuff, man. Bloody brilliant. Honestly, can't believe it. Really, I can, but I can't. It's total elation that was. Right, the bumper. We had Bambino Fever win. You know that. See, look, I got Marine right, but I got plenty of other things wrong. And I said we went no point back in mares and bumpers, but she was brilliant to be fair. So wasn't she, Scotty?
Yeah, she was. Um, couldn't care less about the race if I'm being honest, Joe. But yeah, I'm not going to say any more than that. She was good and fair play to her.
Jamie, it's one of those in hindsight, isn't it? She had the highest rating along with Calypso Chance, 130, but she received £7 and she'd actually backed it up and won three times, but I still couldn't have her. But hindsight's a wonderful thing here, isn't it?
Yeah, I backed it on a day, Joe.
Good stuff.
My brother was with me. He's with an Italian girl, and they called their child Bambino.
Oh,
And
no way.
I was coming down in that's Bambino for Italian for a child, and we were coming down from the Dublin Race Fest. Myself, Shane, and Dad, and my brother rang me. He says, "I'd want to bet at the Dublin Race Festival. I backed Bambino Fever." And he told us on the day, so just back it. And we all back. And I give a shout out to a fellow who watches this podcast, a local lad who I know, David Couchman, had a treble on the day. He had the new Lion, he had Jazzy Matty, and he had
Oh,
Bambino Fever. He won two and a half
jeez.
thousand euros. And
Jeez.
fair play to him. David Couchman, who I know very well, he watches us, and a shout out to him and his friend. I can't think of his name. His friend, he'll kill me. But anyway, they watch us, and he said, "Jamie, he was delighted, and a great judge he is." And he was waiting on Bambino Fever. I never seen a guy shake as much as my life. But
Yeah,
look,
I bet.
fair play. I love that. I love that. An
Yeah,
ordinary,
great
but
stuff.
like all of us, ordinary Joe subs, winning. It was brilliant. It was a great buzz when she won. She's a good horse. There's a lot of horses to take out of that race, Joe. There's a lot of horses. We'll get it back in. We'll get into it probably in the season and going into September and October and all that. There's loads of horses to take out of that.
Yeah,
Like ground was probably against a lot of them. Game of Inches, Coca Cabana, Calypso, Chance, Fortune, the Mare, No Drama, Descent for
yeah.
Nichols. There's loads of horses in that race that'll come out and win races. There's no doubt about that. But she's a really good winner. She could be one for the Mayor's Novice next year. Probably not, maybe not. Do you know what I mean? Like, but
Yeah,
she's a really good horse. And yeah, shout out to the local trainer here, Shuttle
yes,
Diplomacy. I think it was third,
yep.
yeah, for Tommy Cooper, which was great to see. Heads Up, obviously, was second, had form behind Calypso Chance and all that. And I saw Heads Up at Punchestown and Morgan today. Good horse. So, yeah, it's definitely a race to look out for future winners next season. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we'll do an episode at some point, future winners from the Cheltenham Festival. We
Mm.
can go back through some of the races in a bit of detail. Like, Scott, you got something to say? Is that what you? No, I just read that wrong.
Sorry,
No,
no,
Scotty just Scotty just put on his Robcore hoodie for Robcore Day on the
Hey, there we
Thursday.
go. Well, there we go. We'll move on then, and we'll go back to Scotty then, just on that basis that you've got the Rodcore hoodie on. Air of entitlement, beat 6.5. Another one of
Yeah,
mine.
thanks. Yeah, cheers,
I
Scotty. Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm me. This is, my anti-post bets. I
Hold
had
on, hold on,
Sterling
hold on,
Kane.
hold on, hold on.
Nice. I'll text you when to come back
Yeah,
then.
go, go.
I'll tell you what, like, did Rachel Blackmore win this race or did Keith Donoghue lose this race, Scotty?
Keith Dunn who lost the race.
I agree.
I no offense to him, Keith Dunn is great jockey, and there's
But
no doubt about that.
I suppose it's a funny question because Rach did what she needed to do to win the race, but Donoghue got this one wrong, I think. He should have went
He
for home with
probably got
two.
it wrong, Joe. I agree with you.
Hmm.
But what's sticking in my head about that horse is that did Donahue, if you look back there, I've watched it now 100 times and saying, how did it get beaten?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it jumped like a chaser.
Interesting.
Um, and to me, did he ride it to get the trip? Do you know what I'm trying to say, Joe?
Yeah,
It's kind of a catch-22. Did he ride it to get? Was he too close too early? I don't know.
yeah,
If she didn't ride to get the trip, she'd be a smashing mare's chase horse next year. I will say that because she jumps like a chaser.
yeah. Okay, okay.
Yeah. But I just worry will it stay the 2.5 miles in the mare's chase? I will say that.
That's my issue right
Yeah.
there. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
I don't know
I
if it'll
think
stay.
exactly what I'm saying. Like I think he rode her to get the trip, and she just didn't get the trip.
Yeah, he should when he got out, he should have been gone. He should have let her go.
Yeah.
He really should have.
And then hindsight getting say next year exactly what maybe what you might say, and I might be talking absolute crap here. Is she just a 2 mile hurler?
Possibly that's the thing, isn't it? Like, but at
Yeah.
least by letting her go a bit earlier, they'd have found out if she stayed or not,
Yeah.
rather than trying to see if she's a stayer and then getting beat anyway by a stronger finisher.
Yeah.
It's
But on your point now, and I'm moving on, and there's a lot to take out of the race. Like there was the first time in a long time there's 24 runners in a mare's novice.
yeah, true.
Um, getting rid of the race maybe from pre last year there was only 12, now up to 24.
Yeah, that's
Like where have
interesting.
they all come from? Do you know what I'm trying to say, John?
Yeah, that's interesting. That is
Yeah, and
interesting.
Galileo Dame is a work in progress, probably in the wrong race, but we wouldn't have won the time. No, no, no.
Yeah, what do you think then, Scott? I actually spoke to Andy Holding, funnily enough, after our morning preview, and I said, "Oh, Galileo Dane didn't run her race when I was talking about Hello Neighbour," and he said, "Well, actually, she put up a career best." Didn't
Mm,
look like that to me, but
no.
interesting
yeah.
race, I guess.
I actually backed Galileo Dame on the day. I was disappointed with. I mean, if Andy Holding says that I trust his judgment, he does all the speed figures, all the times, and everything. So I just think um, Diva Luna ran a cracker. I thought she was the winner, 2 out. She was travelling so well, and fair play to Kieran Clavin. He tipped her up a long time ago for this race, and he was almost right again. But I just agree with. I kind of agree with half of what you said, and I kind of disagree. I don't think Donahue lost the race. I think he did absolutely everything possible to win the race.
Okay.
It's just the fact that she's a mile and a half horse on the flat. She
Mm,
finished third in the Cesarovic, and that's a 2 mile one race. She just didn't stay. She's
mm,
very much Echoes and Rain Mark II, a horse who's a mile six, mile seven horse, just can't quite get that extra
Mm,
furlong,
mm.
furlong and a half. And I just think she is exactly what you said. She's not a mare's chase horse because she won't stay the 2.5 miles.
mm.
I think they'll go back on the flat with her. And I think they'll try and win some races, possibly in the summer this year in Ireland. Maybe she'll go for those staying handicaps again. I just think she struggles over the distance, and I think Air of Entitlement is probably the one for the mare's chase next year. At the moment, she's obviously a stayer. Go
I
on,
was,
Jamie.
I sorry, Scotty. I was there that day, Joe. Not being morbid, and I remember I showed you the picture. I got the picture of Mikey O'Sullivan in the middle of the summer in Tipperary, and Winter Fog beat
Yeah,
Daddy
yeah.
Longlegs. 2 miles flat track around Tipperary in those kind of conditions, hurdles. I think she'll mop up. I really do. She has the speed to win all those. I think you might see her at the race that Brighter Days Ahead won against Daddy
Royal.
Longlegs and the WKD hurdle, as they call it, in Downroyal in the first day of the season, where Gordon Elliott brings all these horses up and
Mm,
Cromwell
mm.
does as well. I
Yeah,
think she's nailed on for a flat 2 mile hurdle if they want to go down there, but she's definitely going to go back on the flat.
yeah, that's interesting. What was I going to say then? I had something to say. I
I was going to quickly touch on
okay.
Maureen. Obviously, she was very unlucky at the start.
No,
She
I
didn't even
Oh
get
wasn't.
a
yeah,
run in
no,
the race. I thought that was
they
a bit harsh.
they
Again, we just don't know
they were
kind of
not happy
where.
by the way the owners. No,
I
they
was going
were.
to say they must have been fuming, but we don't know where her ceiling lies. She could be a superstar still. We just don't know. But maybe the drift though was worrying. I think she drifted to like 11-1
Yeah.
at the start. That kind of said maybe they knew she wasn't going to run well.
Mm.
Paul Town then chose Aurora
I
Vega
know that
in the
was
race as
strange.
well.
That was strange, wasn't it? To be fair.
Yeah. So again, I think Aurora Vega is a horse that probably needs to go right-handed, needs a bit of soft ground. Um,
Mm.
I wouldn't say Aurora Vega would be out of the question maybe for something like the race at the Punchtown Festival, the Mayor's Championship, or even Fairy
Mm.
House like the Grade One there
Yeah.
that Jay the Grizzly won last year.
Mm.
I'd be keen on her going forward. That'd be the target for the race for me, taking out something out of the race. I know she ran no race there, but the other one that I liked was Just a Rose. She jumped like an absolute wardrobe. She just didn't know what she was doing. Inexperienced, found her out straight away in the race. I wouldn't give up on her in the long term. I think the Jerry Fielding, something like that, or maybe a Mayor's Handicap Hurdle later on next season in a bit of soft ground. I think that'd be the Jerry Fielding. That's the one I'm going to put her up for. Then I'm going to take a wild swing for Just the Road. Um, but yeah, the more experience she gets, smaller fields, I think she'll come good as well and win some races next season.
If you're listening, make sure you write these down from Scotty. He's like the anti-post sort of tips to hear. Like, that's what I was going to say. Air of Entitlement. 2 weeks before, she wasn't even going to be coming over. It was mentioned in the stable tour. He said, no, we're going to leave her at home. She must have been doing bits as well
Yeah. Thanks, Henry. Cheers,
yeah.
buddy.
Do you know what I mean? She must have been showing some serious.
And it didn't run since St. Stephen's Day Boxing Day on Down Royal.
Jesus, wow, wow,
Some
wow.
training performance.
That is, yeah, yeah. I didn't realise it was that sort of long. Jamie, factor file in the Ryanair. He eyeballed Ile Francais. Ile Francais said, no, thank you very much. On you go, factor file. Is it? I actually had a piece of the 13-2 at one point for factor file. I said he was going to go for this race.
You
Didn't
did?
necessarily fancy him though, in a weird way.
Yeah, I was the same. Yeah, I was put off on it. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you said it all year. In fairness, yeah, he's going to switch. And then when you break it down, you're saying, "Oh, I don't know, I
Yeah,
don't know."
isn't
Do you
it
know? Do you
funny?
know? It was that kind of a
Yeah.
thing. Yeah,
And then on the
seriously impressive.
morning, just a quick one on the morning, isn't it funny? I find you can think certain things all the way through the season, and then as soon as you get
Yeah,
to the morning, suddenly you're like,
yeah,
hang on a minute, what
yeah,
am I thinking?
yeah, yeah. I agree. I
You know
agree.
what I
I
mean?
agree.
The
It
perception
happens to the
changes.
best of us, as they say.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Brilliant,
yeah.
wasn't he?
That was seriously impressive. He was, he was. It's probably the second best performance of the whole lot. To me. The New Line was number one. Number two was Factified. He's a good horse.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
no doubt about it. Um, to me, a lot of and I wouldn't crib people, and everybody is entitled to their opinion. He's not a champion chaser.
Yeah, he's not that quick, is he?
Not a hope, and I like fair enough. And there's good judges who I know from past and present, and I know personally, and fair play to them. They stuck their neck on the line, and they've said he's a champ. He might go back champion chase. Oh God, no, he's not a champion chaser. He
Doesn't make
won't beat
sense to
Marine
me.
Ashton.
No, of course you won't. No.
Not a hope in hell. Look, like maybe exactly what you're saying. They might go back to 2 miles against Marine and might beat Marine. Like Bambridge beat 1 to 2 mile open grade one on the first day of the Punchestown Festival last year. But no, Factive Five is not a 2 miler.
No,
Like
he's
he couldn't
not.
beat Dream to Share in a bumper. And Dream, where's the Dream to Share now? Do
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
and he got beat for speed by American Mike, didn't he, that day we were
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember?
No, no, he's not a 2 miler. And people putting him up for the champion chase. Oh my God, are they mad? Like he's the Ryanair penalty kick for the next couple of years. But
He,
no, I think you'll see him in the Gold Cup next year. All depends, obviously, on I know the way you're thinking. We'll get onto that, but
sure.
he's a penalty kick for another Alaho for another couple of years in the Ryanair. Like that was seriously impressive.
Yeah.
Protectorate, my old buddy was probably won a poor renewal last year, even though he beat Envoy Allen the year previous. No, he's like in France. You could technically crib that he could should have been in the champion chase. We said it afterwards after Ryanair. He probably was in the wrong race.
Hmm.
Didn't get to the front, but the problem was, even though I said to a lot of my friends that even regardless if he was in the champion chase, he wouldn't have got to the front in the champion chase anyway because the speed was massive at the
Yeah,
start in the champion
agree,
chase.
agree.
Even Solness couldn't get to the front in the champion chase. So no, I think Ede France is just a Kempton horse, and that's just it when it comes to UK races. Look, maybe I definitely fell for him. I'm a massive fan of him. But maybe if they want to come back again for a Britain race, if that he wants to run a Grade One, bar John Bon would be an Ascot Chase, maybe something like that. I don't think you might not see him too much ever again over here, Joe. To be honest, I think they'll
Yeah,
just do King George, and that's about it. He's just a flat track horse, and that's about it.
yeah, I
But
agree.
going forward, Factify for the next couple of years, if he stays down and they want to win Ryanair's, he's a penalty kick every year.
Keep him in that right now. I totally,
Yeah,
totally
yeah.
agree. Scotty,
Yeah, I agree. Factify was the Ryanair winner as long as he stays sound and he wants to race. Brilliant, wasn't he? It's just a classic case again of I got suckered into backing horses I probably knew weren't quite good enough at the level, like the likes of Jello. I ended up having a few quid a Master Chewy each way on the day.
you,
Probably a grade two horse, didn't quite stay. Um,
you've had a love
but
affair with
Hartwood,
Jello, though. You're allowed those, like with Jello. You've been a big fan of him,
yeah,
the horse, like you're allowed to have that.
yeah, but again, probably just needs again soft ground. And they came to the fore the second season novices. Factifile, Hartwood, the form was in the book. Hartwood ran a cracker in the Drinmore when Croke Park and Gorgeous Tom. All that form's pretty solid this season. And Factifile, yeah, I mean Jesus Christ, if he goes to Champion Chase, I'll eat my hoodie. He's got no chance of running in the Champion Chase next season. They have to keep him here. They're going to have horses going to the Gold Cup next year who will be ahead of him in the pecking order. The likes of Lecky Watson, Gallopin will probably be there again. Um, yeah, Factifile just stays in this division, and again, he could be one that could they could just let
King
Gallopin and
George.
Lecky Watson and all those horses go to Ireland, and Factifile could come to the UK and win the King George. They
Yeah.
might roll the dice with him next season. Um, that's kind of again another one I'm looking at long term. I think he's 7 or 8 to 1 for the King George. I don't think that's a bad bet right now. If he turned up on the day in this form, he'd probably be an 11 to 8 shot, wouldn't he? Similar to this race.
Yeah,
But yeah, the 2.5 miles, it's very hard to know what's going to turn up in this race next year. Not having the turners, you could have horses like Django Bay coming into the mix, maybe Madgeborough. But the likes of Envoy and Protectorat, they've all had their day at this level, and I think
But
the only way is backwards. And again, Jamie's right. Ile Francais, I said it before the show. I said I don't think he's a Cheltenham horse potentially. I think he has to go right-handed on the flat track, good ground.
yeah.
His big day will be in December, and yeah, keep Factor where he is,
but
and don't mess around with him. I think he's
well,
going to win this race in the next 2 or 3 seasons.
exactly what Scotty said there. Like, the abundance of riches that JP has going forward. I know the way you're thinking. Factifile, John Bon, Masborough. They all screen King George horses. Bar, I know the way you're thinking. John Bon, Factifile, Masborough. They all screen to King George.
You
Uh,
also have horses who are going to be progressing from the handicaps who have been impressive, the likes of Jaguar. Jaguar's going to be into the mix
Jaguar.
and open company next season. He'll be running in things like the Grade 2 at Ascot. He will go
Yeah.
to a bit like an Oroco profile, but a better horse than Oroco, in
But
my
he,
opinion.
like, even I think I don't think he was absolutely destroyed really by the handicapper, Scotty. He's going to be like a really warm order favourite for the Paddy Power Gold Cup Jaguar.
Well,
Do you know what I
I
mean?
don't fully agree, Jamie. There, I think you'll see him in the Grade 1 at Aintree, the Mild May, the 2.5 race. I think it's the
Oh
Mild May.
yeah, like I know what they did, but I know the way you're thinking after the Kinmure. Yeah, yeah,
Kind of
100%.
similar, and I think they'll win that race again.
He'd loads left,
He was very,
loads.
very good. He was a Grade 1 horse in the
Very
handicap,
impressive.
wasn't he? So.
Yeah, he's probably technically Scotty. We're obviously on the Thursday. Uh, he was the most impressive handicap runner of the whole week. Bar Carnegie, well, Carnegie probably technically fell over the line. She did, but the most impressive future graded horse in a handicap was Jaguar by 100%. He'd loads left.
You
Loads left.
think in that race, I watched that race, I actually had a few quid on Conflated. I know he's a bit old, he's maybe regressing. He would look like the winner from
Mm,
2 out in that race, Conflated, and he's a Grade 1 winner, and Jaguar just pushed him aside.
yeah.
I know he's getting
And
weight.
we were on the company sergeant. I'd
Uh,
like it ran a great race. In fairness, to,
just the way the week was going when the company sergeant jumped the
yeah.
last. I
Oh,
didn't even cheer. I just knew it was going to happen, and the
I knew
Jaguar
he
was
was
going to
gonna.
do
Yeah,
it. You
he
just
does
know,
that.
don't you, sometimes?
You just knew he was going to be beaten.
Yeah.
But no, in like if you look at all the handicap winners of the whole week, progressive wise, Jaguar was seriously impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, it was a great race that the Ryanair, and a lot of people are saying, "Oh, Fatfar's going to drop out to the champion chase because they've got Madra." Because why would you mess with a winning recipe by trying to win two races using
Yeah.
different horses? You've seen it, they've done it, it's proven. I think it's absolutely bonkers if they take him out of the Ryanair for the Gold Cup, all the Ryan all the
You
championship.
don't see very, very rarely. My experience of racing at Cheltenham is you see a horse who wins a Grade One, even a novice or open company over 3 miles, steps back to win a 2 mile championship race.
Mm.
I think My Way to Souls then won a Stairs Hurdle, then came back and won an Arkle. It's kind of
Yeah.
a similar thing Factor File would have to do. You don't see it very often, and there's a reason for that. So yeah, I can't see it myself.
Well, what horses are going to come next year and do put on the performance that Factor File's just done now? You're not. We were also missing horses like Ilite Tomp. He wouldn't have been able to do what
No,
Factor File did. Spillan's Tower. He'd already been beaten
no.
over this trip by Factor File in the John Durkan. Grey Dawning wouldn't have been able to put up that performance. Why would you take him out?
You have to look at the form of Ilite.
Spillane Tower for the Punchestown Gold Cup.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good, exactly. But do you know what I'm saying with regards to the Ryanair? Like, what other horse could do what he did last week?
No, no, no.
Nothing.
He was nearly just as impressive as Alaho. Like, I mean, he was.
Exactly, James. Exactly. Don't change the winning recipe, isn't it? Like, he's
Exactly.
7-2 for next year. I'm not one to get involved at 7-2 this far, but if you want
Yeah,
to chip away at one, like,
yeah.
he's going off short again on the day. Right, in the Stayers Hurdle, Bob Ollinger, 8-1 for Team Robcore. Tia Hoopu for Team Robcore. The Wall Park for Gordo. I mean, look, Tia Hooper was 8 lengths clear of the wall park, but got chinned by. I just can't believe it, really, to be honest. Like, go on, James, talk to me.
Look, hindsight's a great thing, Joe. Like, I went back bottom Avenger on soft ground over 3 miles in a million years. Like if it was soft ground, two people would have won. Like, you know, it's no disrespect to Bob Olinger, never been beaten at Cheltenham, ever beaten at Cheltenham.
Four times,
But
that is
look, we all
four
know
times
Galloping.
now.
Yeah, even yeah, wasn't it? Yeah, one on New Year's Day as well. Yeah, yeah, the
Yeah,
one the
New
Rail
Year's
Keel. Yeah,
Day,
yeah, yeah.
won the Rail Keel as well. He's won the
Yeah.
Stairs.
He won the Stairs. He's won an old Turners, and he won an
That's
old
it. Yeah, the turns,
uh,
that was it. Yeah.
Ballymore. Yeah, beating Brave Men's Game, Gallagher, Mila. But anyway, I think the ground got it home. That's just me. The ground got Bob Ottinger and a fantastic ride. Like, look, we've all cribbed. She is by far the greatest female jockey. There'll never be a better jockey, female jockey. Maybe not be never a better jockey than Rachel Blackmore. Had it out the back, got the trip. It was a fantastic ride. And what annoys me was, in a way, and not being biased or stereotypical or anything like that, people forget that was a fantastic ride.
Yeah,
It
no.
was and it wasn't picked up, and that's just me. It
No, yeah,
wasn't picked
fair.
up. It was brilliant. She was brilliant. Kept it out the back, rode it to get the trip. Got the trip because of the ground. It wouldn't have won on soft ground. Not a hope.
No, sure. You said that,
Bob
didn't you?
Ottinger,
The
oh
places would have been different, wouldn't they?
yeah, Bob Ottinger on soft ground 3 miles, not a hope. But Bob Ottinger on good ground, they knew. And great by the Bromhead. Stuck by the horse, and it is like I love that horse. Well, as a novice, I was all over it when I won the old Barrymore. But Tupu is probably now more and more ground dependent to speed or your horse than Bob Olinger. The Wall Park, I suppose, is the number one horse to take out of the race because of the inexperience. Come out from the handicap ranks, they were miles clear of the rest. It's a poor division. Is it a poor, like they said, the start? Remember we all saying the start is a poor division with everyone, nobody in God's green earth. We say Bob Olinger. And if they said, oh, he was on an Ante-Post slip for Bollinger, you're talking through your arse there. If anyone says that, not a hope in hell. Nobody expected Bob Bollinger to win this race from day one. Not a hope.
The money
But
only
fair
came on
play.
the money only came on the
The
day as well.
money came on the day. Yeah,
But
it
that's
did.
because of the
Yeah,
ground, like you said,
yeah.
isn't it?
The
That's
ground. Yeah,
no
ground.
other
Yeah,
reason.
yeah. It's a poor division. The horse that I was kind of quietly fancy went out like a light, and the Mystical Power travelled really well up to the
Yeah.
top of the hill. All of a sudden, town said, "There's a problem here."
There's something up
Uh,
with there's something not right with him, you know.
no, there's not something not right. But I suppose going forward for Stairs Hurdle next year, I will say Wall Park will definitely improve maybe and step up. Um, Pew Poo will always be there. It's just a 3 mile hurdle and will come back. And if it's heavy ground, will probably win. Bob Ollinger had his day in the sun. Um, Ballyburn, I think, might come here. Yeah, I think Ballyburn will come back. I think Ballyburn can jump fences. Does it stay in a 3 mile slog in a hurdle race? Maybe not. But it's a poor division. But going forward, maybe on softer ground, and next year it'll probably be between two Poo and the Wall Park. Yeah.
One dark horse I will mention is what a horse called that was fourth, Rocky's Diamond. You know this little
Yeah, a lot of people saying that. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, he's a 5 year old. Like that's mad, and he jumped like
Mm.
using Scotty's analogy, like a wardrobe. He was terrible.
And
But
I will say, going forward, and I
yeah,
said it on previous podcast, I hope and I pray that Fergal O'Brien brings Crambo over to the Grade One of Punchestown.
he'd
There's
prefer the
a
track, that's for sure, wouldn't he?
yeah, and it will win.
Yeah, he might be tempted, you know. Fergal
And
might.
I hope he does because there's a Grade One there for the taking.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Because he
It's
struggled.
it's what technically Joe a 20 pound better horse going right on.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, something along those lines. He
Yeah,
won that.
yeah.
Did he
Yeah,
win
it's
the
got
long
her
walk?
a long walk out.
Got it. So yeah, look, keep an eye on this Rocky's Diamond. I'll just be interested to see how he progresses. And if he doesn't progress, then he's just not good enough. But if we just watch him run by one and see how he jumps,
He'll probably win the race at Gorn again on Galmoy again. Yeah,
yeah, just keep him in your anyone watching, just get him in your tracker and just he's only a 5 year old, it's nothing. He's only gonna be six in the race next year. Scotty, you got your Rob Core hoodie on. Obviously they had the 1-2, didn't they?
Yeah, I was just laughing what Jamie said about Crambo because you think 2 runs ago he won the Grade One, beating the Wall Park, and the Wall Park's gone off 6 times shorter price than
Yeah,
Crambo.
true.
It just goes to show that horses for courses. Crambo's not a Cheltenham horse, we all know that. Um, yeah, I was sitting there again, Joe, on Rocky's Diamond each way, finished fourth, so that was another pain in the arse for the week. But I'm glad you said that because I think as a 6 year old next year, I think he'll be even better in the race. I think beating half a length by the Wall Park into fourth. Jamie's nailed it again. I think they're the two to kind of look at for next season in the staying hurdle division. I think they'll both be very good. But it makes sense to me. I looked at the race before. Bob Bollinger was 20s in the morning. I thought he's never stayed 3 miles in his life. But when he went and won the race, I just sat there and I was just in dead silence. And in my mind, I just said, it makes sense why he's won the race. He's won at Cheltenham multiple times,
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
was lucky to win. He was lucky to win the Turners when Galloping fell, but it's just Cheltenham form. It just keeps on coming back to the fore year after year after year. He's People say horses for courses. That is the most any saying you have in racing, horses for courses.
100%.
But certain jockeys for certain horses, Rachel gets the best out of Bob Ollinger. She literally knows how to ride them, and every time she rides him, she gets him absolutely A1. And for me, it was the ride of the week. This one,
yeah,
I thought she absolutely
100%.
delivered it to a peach.
Brilliant.
And Tiapu just travelled like he did into the race, and he just got done because of the ground. Um, so yeah, I haven't really got a lot to add. All the same horses I've taken out of the race, but yeah, it's one of those you go, fair enough. I couldn't back him, but it made sense. It was one of them for me.
Yeah, I agree. Like, no money earned from that race, anyway. Let's put it that way. I got a little bit back off the wall part, but not enough. Yeah, look, just touching that as well quickly. Cheltenham, such a specialist track. People don't understand that. They think if you win at Sandown and Kempton, you can do it at Cheltenham. It's completely different ball game. Like Jamie said about Crambo, for anyone listening, it's exactly that point, to be honest with you. You know, you can do it at certain courses, but not others. Right, we move on to Friday. We sort of briefly touched on Jaguar. We did have a nice story with Coldwell Potter on Thursday as well, obviously for
Yeah.
the John Hales.
Yeah. That was annoying.
Yeah, but it was a
And
nice.
to be honest, yeah, look, no disrespect to the horses that were what 150 to one and third, 166 to one. That was just a terrible race.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nice for
It
John
just
Hale's colours to have a winner though as well. Like after losing him,
brilliant,
but
fantastic,
another
and
little story.
it was a great training performance to hide a 740 grand horse out of the handicap.
I couldn't have had it
Um,
for Sundays. Like,
Monte Sundays, no one could, but there was money for it, and
yeah,
obviously someone knew. Wow. And it was a top class performance in my book.
yeah, yeah,
It was, regardless of what was behind it. He's definitely a horse to go forward. Um, I was sorry with Scotty. I said about Jaguar and all that, and was Jaguar was fantastic, but you have to take note that a horse that won in a monsoon, a monsoon went to Leopardstown that day
Yeah.
on soft ground to
Uh,
win like that on good ground.
yeah.
Now look, it got its own way, and it look and that's fine, but it was a fantastic performance, regardless of what's behind it, and he's definitely on my radar for top 2.5 mile chases next year. I
Yeah.
think they know what they have. But
The amount of stick Nichols had as well, James, like, you know?
yeah, yeah, and it was fantastic. In a way, think about like look. I said to you before, Joe. Look, you crib trainers in Ireland here, like people crib anybody crib trainers like Tony Martin and Charles Burns and all that. Like, here's your champion trainer for 14 times, hiding a horse all year, and it was a top class training performance.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
And that's just me. It was seriously impressive. Um, yeah, he's definitely a horse to look forward to going forward. Yeah, I was really taken by him, and jumped like a good thing.
He did.
Uh,
You know,
he, he,
that's what took it for me as well. His jumping was just bloody brilliant, wasn't it? Like,
yeah. So I mean, like handicappers progress regardless if it was a good or enough or a good or a bad race. Handicappers progress sometimes into Ryanair horses, and then look, he's definitely on my radar for Ryanair. I might be talking absolute nonsense. It might be a crap race going forward, but my God, if you give him rope like an Uxie Zandra by McCoy that
yeah,
time,
yeah,
or
yeah, yeah,
God knows what horse, Alaho or whatever, he's not Alaho or whatever, but if you give him rope in a Ryanair, wow. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah.
will he be factor file like factor file going up to the Gold Cup now? Like, like
Hey,
if you got a poor renewal of a Ryanair,
hey,
or like
you,
he's probably going to the Paddy Power Gold Cup. Do you know
oh,
what I mean?
that's the shout. There you go. That's it. You got it.
Yeah,
Paddy Power. As
yeah.
soon as you said it, I was like, oh, that's the one.
But yeah, yeah. The other races, yeah, yeah, yeah. Joe, but he's after boom about Daddy the Great.
Yeah,
I can't believe I didn't back him, Joe. I backed him in Kempton on the 27th of December because I have it on my fucking tracker.
And he
And
ran.
he
So
got,
did I. I backed him. I backed him that day.
yeah, I backed him. And Tom the Bear goes to me, Jamie, what about Buddy the Great? We're on about that horse for ages. Not a penny I had on it. And I see Brian Hughes coming on, and I said, oh no, no,
yeah, that's
no,
it. That's it.
don't do this to me.
Do you know what's
Um,
in? Did you hear the stat about the race? The tongue tie stat. It is
a good
mental.
friend of mine, we'll have him on. I said to you before, a good
Yeah,
friend of mine,
yeah,
Paul, he was in the picture I showed you with Dad and Tom.
yeah.
Paul
I
texted
think I
me.
can remember. I think I can remember the picture. I remember the
Yeah, yeah, and
when you're in the
Paul texted
stands.
me. Yeah,
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 I know.
he
I
was in the
know.
stand. Yeah, yeah, and Paul texted me. Did you see the stat? Even though he put him up as his charity bet, Nicky Anderson. I said, yeah. I saw the charity. No, he said you haven't seen the stat. He's 9 out of 10 with a tongue tie, whatever the fuck. I was like, oh
Yeah,
no.
eight. Well, what it was 8 out of 9, but now it's nine
Yeah,
out of 10. Like a tongue tie is often there to help you just control a horse or
yeah.
to keep them
Mm.
breathing nicely enough. Like and there were three horses in the race with a tongue tie. American Sniper, who I liked, who ran bloody well for a long way
Yeah,
time. And
yeah.
then, and then there was Maxi Matt Gold for Paul Nolan, who ran a good race, and Doddy the Great. I couldn't believe it.
Mm.
I tell you what, we should have listened to is Nicky Henderson said all week and all couple weeks before he was on a few previews. He said my best bet of the
Daddy
festival,
degree.
Doddy the Great. Yeah, yeah, Jericho the Repene
He
was
got his ground.
brilliant.
He's got his ground. He was waiting for good ground all the time, in
Brilliant.
fairness.
And he's been a
Um,
menace of a horse, hasn't he?
I'll make one good small bit of a shout. Um, I think Johnny Who will win the Carl Gold Cup.
Oh, can't stand that horse. Sorry, but he bugs me. He bugs me. I shouldn't
It
say
should have
it.
won the race.
He bugs me. Do you
But
know what?
if you look back at the race, right, they probably went a bit of a crawl in a way for 3-2. It wasn't an old-fashioned Kimir
Yeah,
where they go really hard. Sam Majest shocked me. To be honest, he went underground. He's definitely going to win races.
yeah, definitely.
Patrick got a bit of good race, just didn't stay. Like, I think old Derek O'Connor would have kicked him on, but I think Derek O'Connor. Look, I know the Cardigan Cup is 3-2, but that's 3-2 in Newbury. 3-2 to Newbury to the Cheltenham is different. But he was a pains to get the trip. and you could see it come around the corner, and everybody roaring for Johnny Who. I was like, no, he won't stay. You could
Yeah.
see Derek holding to get him home. I think
Okay.
if look, hindsight's a great hindsight. Look, he might have not beaten Tar, but I think that Johnny Who probably in the wrong race. He probably
Yeah.
should have been in the Ultimate. And he shocked
Probably.
me. Look, we shocked us all. Like he shocked us all. Like about the right-handed thing. He should have won the race.
Don't like
That's just
crabbing.
me.
I don't like crabbing jockeys. I generally don't because we
Mm,
don't ride horses, even though we can
mm,
look at tactics. Derek O'Connor bottled that coming to that last fence. He really pulled him up, made
yeah,
himself get a safe jump, and he thought he was going to win in a sprint finish.
yeah. But
Hindsight is
I
11.
still think he was holding Joe. He was holding to get the trip, and
Sure,
he just didn't get the trip.
but when you get to that last fence, you've got to let him go. Then you've got to let him go. When you're in his run,
Yeah. You have to let him go.
he just said, "I'm getting over this, and we'll have a sprint." And then he
Yeah,
got done. Then he got done for toe, didn't he? So
yeah.
interesting anyway.
And fair play. Another fella who knows how to train Cheltenham Festival. He's underestimated Paul Nolan, and fair play to him.
Yeah, look, again, it's nice to see different trainers have winners as well, isn't it? To be
Yeah,
honest, Cheltenham
yeah.
too. Right, and gents, we're going to the final day. We've gone on for quite a while tonight. I thought it was going to be short and snappy, but I quite enjoyed ranting anyway. The Triumph Hurdle, Poniros, Scotty, 100 to 1 shot, Willie Mullins, John Joe and
I'll be back.
Adrian.
I'll be back because
Yeah.
look, I know Scotty's sick, but I'm even sicker.
Lulamba, second. East India Dock, third. I fell for Hello Neighbor last minute.
Yeah,
Really annoyed at myself, but Jesus Christ, where did this thing come from? Well, France.
from the flat, from from the flat.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
hadn't even
yeah.
ran over hurdles. I'm going to tell you. I think I've told you the story, but for those that don't watch, sorry, I don't know. We do the watch along with Liam Firkin occasionally, and I think it was probably February, and he went, I want one unpopular opinion from everybody
Oh,
here, something that
yes.
caused a bit of controversy. This is not a trumpet blowing moment. This is just a God's honest how my meeting went. I went, do you know what, Liam? I think this year we're going to have 100 to 1 winner at the festival. And he went, really? And I went, I've just got the feeling the way the season has been
Yeah,
going.
yeah.
And do you know what? It happened to be in the race against my Napa meeting.
Oh, yeah, of course, to even make it even worse for you in that sense. Like,
But do you know what, Joe? I'm just bloody glad East India Doc wasn't second and he came third because I
yeah,
would have probably just turned the telly off for the rest of the day. But
and went home.
um, yeah, I don't think there's any shame. Conor Ross is obviously a good horse. Fair play to Willie Mullins. I know he ran about 11 in the race. He just
All right,
obviously
good
doesn't know
stuff.
how good they all are. When the likes of St. Lucie goes off a short price favourite, one runner go to DRF and then goes off a massive price here, it's kind of where the market is. The bookmakers just don't know how to price up all of these horses. Tony Bloom obviously didn't have a bet on it because it would have gone off
Yeah.
a lot shorter. That's another thing that I will say. But Jamie again said it. You said it as well. Lou Lambert for the Arkle next year. I think it will turn out to be a good race. Hello Neighbour, I think will win races next season. I do like Hello Neighbour. I think he ran a good race to be honest, and just didn't quite get up the hill maybe. But for me, East India Dock, his target's going to be basically like Burdett Road last year. He'll run in that Mattison's holding hurdle in the showcase meeting in October,
Yeah,
probably.
yeah, 100%.
They may roll the dice with him in something like the Greatwood, but I kind of think the bubbles burst a little bit now of East India Dock. Maybe he's not quite as good as we were hoping. Might be being a bit harsh on him, but I think it was a good triumph hurdle. And got no idea where the winner's going to go. He could end up in something like the Cesarovic, or he could end up running in a Morgiana. You just don't know.
Yeah.
So the jury's very much out for me with him, but I think Lou Lambert's the one to take out for the future for the race for sure.
I'd say that flat experience helped him cross the line and pass horses later on in that race, didn't it?
For sure, definitely.
Jamie, heartbreak for all of us, I think, in this race.
Yeah, a good few people actually backed it. Fellas I know backed it. Um,
Thanks for the tip.
no, it was last minute. A couple of young fellas said to me, I backed it. I goes, oh yeah, you did, yeah. And they did. Um, we were talking for the race, and I said, yeah, couldn't have Hello Neighbor. Doesn't stay. Saw the DRF doesn't stay. I thought it was a two-horse race. Show, to be honest, Joe, I thought it was between the top two. Um, and the lads, Tom and Dad goes to me, if you take any of the William Mullins horses, they said, who would you take? I said, it's very interesting. I said, just Pointer. And I'm not after talking or after booming or anything like that. I goes, yeah, I backed him in the flat when it was wrong. I think it was an X Cup one day. I think he won, did it win or didn't win, or whatever. I backed it. It was for Ammo Racing. I goes, yeah, this is a good horse. There was a big flat handicap in it. But exactly what Scotty says, like if there was money for it, like Mr. Bloom would have hammered it.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
very, very strange race. It goes back to the point that if Lulamba had another run, it'd have won, regardless of point or us. Beating it up there. If Lulamba had another race, Lulamba would have won the race.
Yeah,
Experience wise.
we said this off camera, didn't we? And you mentioned it, like, and he would have. We said,
He would have won, and he's a serious horse going forward, yeah.
yeah,
Is he quite up to Sergino? Maybe not 50-50, but he's a really good horse. You could see, like, I wasn't even looking at Pointer Ross up the hill. I
yeah,
knew coming up the hill that Lulamba passed East India Dock. Then all of a sudden, this flat horse comes up and beat us. Um, that's just the way it is. Fair play. Like, look, Willie Mullins ran 11 in the race and he took a chance and 100 to 1 shot wins, and that's just racing at the end of the day.
yeah,
Uh, but to say to crib Willie Mullins for running 11, that's up to him. He's a trainer
absolutely.
to the day. Who cares? But by far, exactly. I think East India Dock, actually, what Scotty said there, when the race finished, I said, yeah, great with hurdle. East India Dock, great with hurdle. Straight away. Burnett Road.
Yeah,
Straight
that'd
away.
be nice. That'd be nice for
East India
connecting.
Dock, 100% agree with hurdle. Will it win it? Maybe probably might be too much, too highly handicapped now, maybe to win a great wood.
Mm.
But no, Lulamba by far. Pointer Ross, God knows where it's going to go. You don't know how good it is, really, to be honest with you. But Lulamba is by far the horse to take out of the race, yeah, and it's going to be a top class horse. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Like you said, people moaning about Willie running all the horses. God, he can do what he wants. I don't understand
Do what
the
he
issue
wants.
with it. Just because no one had the winner, easy to complain, though. It's a load of nonsense.
Correct.
Daisy, lads, just really quickly impressive, wasn't she, in the county? She's been very keen. Jamie, you've been shouting about this for a long time. The fast pace helped to sort of drop the bit, and she just, well, handicap.
Yeah, yeah. She was in front too soon, John.
Yeah, she idled almost, didn't she?
Yeah. Look, don't smoke up my whatever
Hey, you
put up
called
on
it.
our
You called it.
Ante-Post handicap thing at 14 to 1. Yeah, I just said she needs quick, whatever, fast pace, whatever, and I took the chance and the whole lot and came off. And but isn't it very strange to see? Hindsight is very strange. 16 runner county hurdle, like you don't see that. Like that'll tell you how widespread and very,
Yes.
very weird Cheltenham is. That exactly what you said earlier. It should be back to 3 days. County hurdle should be 27, 26, 27 runners, and then
Yeah.
now they want to cap the races and make it less like that's boring. Like 16 runner county hurdles is not great. To be honest with you, for racing, that's just me. But look, we got the winner. Hanging on for dear life she was, but look, we take it. I think she was at pains. She has obviously, she was touted obviously for mayor's hurdle. I think she was in front too soon. She got home. I think her stay got home. She was keen all the way. She was just unlucky. No one towed her into the race.
Yeah.
She'd have
Yeah.
won by further if someone got her to the last. I was delighted. Thank God. It was a run of what? I was at 6.5. Tiupu, the company sergeant.
Second,
They
second.
were all Lolamba.
Yeah. Yeah.
Second, I said to my dad, I goes, this can't happen if Indowie beats me now here. I'm going home. And it was this middle Gold Cup day. I said, no, I'm going home. If Cargies doesn't win here, I'm going home. And thank God. Put it
Yeah,
that way, Joe.
good race. I do enjoy this race. So Mullins had the 1-3-4. Scotty, you were a bit fuming because you touted this filly for the mare's chase.
It was just like I said, mate. It was just the way the whole week went. I got everything I deserved this year. I tipped her up for the mare's chase at 14s. It was literally the race after. She probably she
Yeah.
ended up winning the race before.
Yeah.
And guess what? I backed Nadawi each way, and I backed Ethical Diamond each way. So I
Brilliant.
got
Brilliant.
second and fourth. But do you know what? It is what it is. There's more important things in life to worry about. But no, the best horse won. She's a 2 miler. They made the right decision. Very good placing, and the best horse won. So fair play to them. They got it right.
Mare's chase then Scotty Dino Blue. She won by 8.5 lengths. Again, hindsight, she was the best horse in the race. I just felt like I was trying to get a beat all
Yeah,
season.
yeah.
Not much to say,
I
is there really?
I actually did something I don't do very often, and I talked myself out of it last year. I said she doesn't stay, and all this year I'm like, she doesn't stay 2.5. I watched back the Mare's Chase last year, and she does clearly stay 2.5 miles. She
Mm.
just got beat by a horse who was on absolute peak form last year,
Yeah,
Limerick
yeah.
Lace. I looked through the race, Joe, honestly, about 7 or 8 times the night before on the Thursday. I said, she's just an absolute certainty. It was the only thing I got pretty much got right all week. But I doubled her with Gallop and Deschamps, didn't I? So I made no
Oh,
money out of the
God.
race again. But I stuck it up on my column, my little post I did on Twitter. I had a good 2 point win on her. So I showed a bit of profit for my followers, which was okay. But
Good,
still,
good,
I
good.
mean, fair play to her. I put her up earlier in the season at Christmas, over 2 miles. Maybe she just needs a bit of a trip. Maybe she's better ground, obviously. This plays right into her hands. The only bet I had in the race, the other angle was I stuck Bright Hill in a small multiple each way. It was only 4-1, 9-2 I got on the day. And just again, Cheltenham form, the ground was in her favour. You just have to go with everything that ticks the boxes. And the best two horses finished first and second. Allegory de Vassy, I said on the last show when we
Yeah.
were on with Henrietta Knight, I said I thought she'd run better. She ran a cracker. I thought she was not going to win the race, but she ran a blinder. And she just seems to be one of those. I keep saying it. She's a bit like the female Gaelic warrior. She either turns up or she just doesn't want
That
to
was
play.
it.
It's one of
Yeah,
them.
that was
So,
it.
but
Yeah,
no, the best horse won, and fair play to Dino Blue. Probably the most impressive winner of the week, aside from Fact the File for me.
yeah, fair enough. Good shout there, Scotty. Jamie, anything to add there?
Yeah, I hammered her, Joe. After winning after Carrigeast, I was obviously pissed off with what happened Thursday and the run of 4 or 5 seconds in a row and won the money. And Carrigeast took a good chunk off Carrigeast off her, not take any credit for it or anything. I just do my own thing. Do you know what I mean? Shocking race, terrible. Needs to go.
Yeah, agreed.
Um,
Agreed.
it's terrible. It's run its course, I think, to be honest with
Yeah.
you. Fair play. Look, she's been campaigning for it all year. The ground came in her favour. If it was heavy ground, look, as I said to you all year, Joe, it's the mayor of this year. It never felt that this year.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? Limerick Lace won last year because of the soft ground. Bride's Hill was good last year. Had an injury and never hasn't come back. Limerick Lace is done. Impervious never came back after the race. Allegory of Astley never in the race again. It's just a poor division, and then it needs to go.
yeah.
Full stop.
I agree. Look, Gavin Cromwell could have run only by night here. He ended up sending her to the Ark and
Yeah, yeah.
station. She
Would
finished
she have
second.
beaten her? I doubt it. Looking the way how
Sure,
impressive Dinah Blue was.
sure.
Hindsight's a great thing, obviously, and it's there to be seen. But it's a terrible. It needs to go.
Yeah, it'd have been nice to see Dino Blue have to run in the champion chase though instead, wouldn't it? Like, do you know what I mean?
100%. Look, exactly. Look, what was it? What was the horse that won, Joe? The Kingstown horse, the mare, Shattered Love, right?
Yes,
Mm.
Shattered Love won that Turner's. How, like, leave the Jack Richards race there, that was what called by the Potter one.
fine
I
with
have
that.
no problem with that,
Agreed.
right?
Yeah,
Get rid of the mare's chase and just bring back the Turners and have it all grade one mares and thing, and no one have say nothing
yeah,
because that
agreed.
mare's chase is they give out about the mare's hurdle, but the mare's chase is woeful.
They keep talking about how it's good for the breeding, getting these
It's terrible,
grade one wins. Well, you can
terrible.
say it's a grade one win on paper, but it's not,
Yeah.
is it?
Like you could see by the crowd, even though it won Dinah Blue, there was no one putting their hands up.
Yeah, exactly. Saying, "Oh, she's the best mare." She'd have got more credit for
Yeah.
finishing second in a champion chase. She would. Don't care.
Correct.
Don't care what anyone says about that either.
It
Right.
goes to show as well, quickly on that race, that you have horses that don't necessarily have to progress or come in as newcomers to
Yeah,
win
I
the race. Like
love that.
Ellie May got beaten in the race, and then she
Yeah.
came back and won it when she lost to Cole Reevy. Dino
Yeah,
Blue got beat last year, came back. It just goes to show the mares are not there in depth at this
Yeah.
level.
yeah.
No.
Bright Hill wins it next year then.
Mm.
Probably trying right.
No, no.
Hopefully,
No.
bioluminescence turns up next year in the rain.
Yeah, a bit of soft ground she will. I think she's entered in the Irish Grand National now, bioluminescence. She'll have a right shot in that.
She'll win the Powers Gold Cup at Fairyhouse on tough ground.
She's a blimmin' good horse. That
No,
was
hold on. I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Spindleberry beat her.
oh, don't see that. But there are a couple of nice horses that we missed, didn't we, from
Mm.
Norris? Right. We won't spend too much longer. The Albert Bartlett, I'll start here because we had Wendigo run a really good race. Gav Sheehan actually nearly came off. Wendigo coming around the home turn because he tried to go at the inside of Big Westerner. There's an image of him holding a rein on the other side, hanging off. He'd have definitely finished in the first three, but hey, that is racing. He finished that as very strong. Got a nice novice chaser to go forward in next year. The Big Western, I've been a huge fan of this mare. Can't really ask for anything more. She ran an absolute blinder. But Jasmine DeVoe, Jamie won it. The horse that cannot jump hurdles has gone and won the Albert Bartlett. Last year's bumper winner. Obscene stuff, isn't it, really? I suppose it's a credit to say
I'd
it's
have a penny on him, Joe. And
nothing
I'm being serious. I didn't have nothing on him.
interesting.
I thought it was the Turner's horse. I should have backed it. I didn't back it. Um,
Just kicked
I
yourself
was
after instead.
I couldn't believe it. Um, I was on obviously Spaces for Cheltenham, and no offense to you, I said there's two lays in the meeting, and I didn't say place lay of any. I said the two horses that won't win, are Hello Neighbor and the Big Westerner, and the only reason I said the Big Westerner because I don't think it will win on the ground. The Big Westerner, if it makes an absolute monsoon here in Ireland, doesn't look like it because there's hardly no rain here at the moment.
Hmm.
That would have a chance in the grave one now at Punchestown, but I'd like to see a better bit of soft ground. She's a smashing horse going forward.
Brilliant.
Now, if you want to me cribbing a mare's chase, I can't see nothing beating the Big Western next year in a mare's chase. Not a hope in it. It's such a bad division. She will win that doing handstands, even as a novice. Um, is she up to her Browns level? She could be. But if they decide to go down that route in a mare's chase, I don't think nothing to beat a Joe. I think she shocked me how good she was, to be honest with you. I didn't think she'd go on the ground. Um, if they want to go down obviously they're going to go novice chase and she's a point-to-point winner. And she's nailed on to me to win the mare's chase. I think she's a certainty next year for the mare's chase. That's just me. Um, the one horse, I love Jack Kennedy. I think he's the best jockey of one of the greatest jockeys. But I tell you one thing, what in God's green earth was he doing on Wingmen?
Hmm.
It was a shocking ride.
He didn't
I'm
have a
like,
good
you knew he
recline
was.
though, did he? He shouldn't have been
No,
riding.
no,
He was limping
he
into
shouldn't be
the
right. I
races.
agree. I agree. He was
Unbelievable.
brought back too early.
Yeah,
No fate by Gordon Elliott, unfortunately, with the likes of Sam Ewing and
yeah.
the other fella. Of
Sam Ewan should have been riding all of those horses.
course, he should have,
All of
and
them.
he's been doing it all year.
Yeah,
So I
exactly.
just don't understand it.
And he's done it well as well.
Yeah.
If not Jordan Gainford, you can't rush a jockey back.
But what I will say, your horse, right? Is he going to entry?
Yeah, no, because he's got a few cuts on him, cuts and bruises. So
Oh
we're
my
gonna just
God.
send in
The
another.
race that Dancing City won an entry.
Yeah, the
He will be an
second.
absolute cast iron,
Yeah,
certainty.
he
Um, cast iron. I'm like, he should have took the money off McManus. This is a good horse.
he is a good horse. He's
Um,
improving from front. He's got some
would
cuts
he
and
beaten,
bruises. They think it was
would
from
he
the
beaten
interference.
Jasmine? Yeah, go on, yeah.
No, I said they think it was from the interference with the big Westerner because he
Yeah,
didn't hit any hurdles.
yeah.
He winged everything, like winged to go. We should
He'd have been really close. Would he beaten Jasmine Devoe? Maybe, maybe not. But he's a really good horse.
Yeah. Well, wait.
He is a good horse.
The way we looked at it. Sorry.
Two horses shocked me in the Albert Bartlett and shocked me in the whole festival. One was Big Western, one was Wendigo.
There you go. Good. I'm glad
Wow,
about that.
I think he's really good. I
Yeah,
think he's
like
really good.
the way we discussed it after, and we said he would have finished third 100%, no doubt about it.
Mm,
Sometimes when horses get into that position, then as well as finishing
yeah,
third, they can find more. Look, it's
yeah,
horse racing. We get on with it. We've
yeah.
got a nice horse to go forward with. But the if buts and maybes with him were he would have finished third 100%, and who knows then what would have
To
happened.
me, to me, you should have taken the money, but that's me. But um, yeah, I think he's really good. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. He would absolutely would definitely win the race. Dancing City won whatever the Sefton novice entry. Unfortunately, I hope Jamie's done if he comes back and has cuts and maybe he might be done for the whole year. I'd love to see him at Punchestown.
That'd be
And a
good.
flatter track. Look, they go on about Punchestown's underrated, but it's a speed ring to me.
Cool.
Punchestown, it'll suit him down to the ground.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, he's good going forward. Next season, with him, is he good enough to win a Browns? Maybe not, but you never know.
I
But
think we'll
yeah,
follow
he
the juke.
impressed me.
I think we'll follow the jukebox man. You know
Yeah,
what?
yeah, into the Feltham, maybe into the Feltham. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, yeah. if he wasn't kind of stopped and Gavin Sheehan there, he felt the back of the side of him going up and around the bend. I thought he would have definitely finished a lot closer. Yeah.
Well, the reason Gav said the reason he went up the inside of the big Westerner was because he was gaining momentum and he wanted to just
Mm.
get himself in front of her, like and
Yeah. Yeah.
who knows then
I
anything
think
could happen,
exactly what you're saying. Correct.
you
He
know,
was following technically the best horse in the race. Do you know what I mean? What they
100%.
were following all year. Yeah.
Yeah,
But Jasmine DeVoe, oh my God. I am.
you watching
abs-
wing fences now next year, Jasmine
I
Devoe.
am
Just watching.
absolutely. That race really tormented me
Yeah,
because I love Jasmine DeVoe and Jasmine DeVoe. Oh my God.
a few angles.
Anyway, move on because I'm fucking race annoying me.
Scotty, good race, wasn't it? Like, great to see.
How much influence do you have in race planning with the race club for Wendigo?
Not a lot. Not a lot.
Tell
Jamie makes
them,
decisions.
tell them Scotty Rudz, your wingman says, run him in the John Frankham Novices Chase at Newbury over 2.5 miles. He will win that race.
There we go. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That is the race for him. Trust me.
John Frankham at Newbury. I will drop the
So hit
word.
Racing Club if you're listening. Listen to the bad boy. He knows how to plan and play.
Punchestown against the Big Westerner.
Yeah,
But
well,
no,
look,
Sorry,
no,
punchy.
don't start you. Don't
but
you
no,
start.
Joe. Honestly, in the race, Wendigo was so unlucky. I watched the replay
He
back.
was so unlucky.
It was just ridiculous how unlucky he was. Whether he would have won's a different question. He would have gone damn close. But it was another one for me on moaning all night. The big Westerner came there. I was on there since December. I sat there and I looked and I seen this double green and I said
Uh,
in my head, Jamie's going to be raging. How can this horse go from jumping hurdles like an
Not even
absolute
jumping them.
fridge to winning this race? I just sat there and I was just shocked. It was another thing that I backed Ante-Post, got done into second. I'm going, bloody hell. But then you have to look again, it falls back into Cheltenham form. He didn't jump a hurdle, he won a bumper, but he's got Cheltenham form.
Yeah.
It's so obvious. And but when the
Romeo
horse
Coolio was second, third in the Supreme.
Mm-hmm.
it just all adds up. And then you at the end of it you said 6-1 just was way too short to back. But he was like
Oh, I'm
16.
absolutely sick. He was well back. He was 12 to 1 in the morning, Scotty. He was
He
back into
was
6 to 1, yeah.
he was 16s when I looked on the machine and I just thought, my God. But now going forward, Joe, when to go for the John Frankham at Newbury, get him in the race, make sure they put him in it. And Jasmine DeVoe for me. If, like Jamie says, Ballyburn decides to go back over hurdles, we could all of a sudden have a proper stairs hurdle next year.
There you
Yeah.
It
go.
would be a very
Dead
good
right,
race next
Scotty.
year.
Dead right. Dead
So
right.
I'm kind of hoping it happens because Jasmine DeVoe, is he going to take defences?
Well, they
Don't
said
think so.
Probably not.
his point to point handlers when I did the stable tour thingy, the media day at Willie's, he said, "Oh, did anyone watch the point to point race with Justin DeVoe?" And I said, "Yeah," and I was like, "He was okay towards like the,"
And jump.
and he said, "No, no, no, no." He said even his handler said he barely lift his feet over the bar. They've got like white posts on like point to
Yeah.
point fences, and they said he could hardly even get his legs in the air. Like so, he might, like you said, he might not take to
It's
them
like
whatsoever.
exactly what Scotty said. Like all stairs hurdle horses, right?
Mm.
He came and then he went again. Look at the way he won the bumper.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
came and he went again. So he probably exactly what Scotty says. And even though I said about Ballyburn, Jasmine DeVoe probably screams the stairs hurdle.
He's a classic example of a
Yeah,
stairs hurdle horse
hurdle
for me.
horse.
And do you know what? If I was having an anti-post bet for next year, I don't know what price he is. He
Stairs
would be
hurdle.
one I'd throw a few quid at. Yeah.
16 to 1. I've just got it up here. 16
Yeah,
to 1 for
stairs
Jasmine
hurdle.
DeVoe,
Yeah.
12 to 1 for Ballyburn. So people are kind of onto it as well, like, but there's nothing wrong with having a few spectacles.
Shekels.
Speculative.
Speculative goes this far out. Yeah, yeah. So 12 to 1 and 14 to 1. There's not a lot around them in the market, really, bar Tia Hoopu as well.
Oh, and the wall park, obviously.
Yeah, the Wallpark's 25 to 1 for it, mine. That's, so you can have a few speculative punts if you want to. Right then, gents. Gold Cup. We won't spend too long on it. Big turn up for the books. We were fortunate enough to have Henrietta Knight join us
Right, listen,
on the
listen,
channel.
right.
Listen, right. on the channel. You told us how hard it is for them to win 3 Gold Cups. It's all about ground for Galopan, though, right? You need soft ground, but Best Mate went on a variance of ground, didn't he? Galopan couldn't do it. I know the way you're thinking. He's a 7-year-old. He's the first Gold Cup winner for the sire progeny walk in the park, which is good to see. It's just going to make him even more expensive now. He covers about 1 million mares a year. Scotty, go on and finish us off with the Gold Cup.
Yeah, I didn't have a bet in the race, Joe. I only had the small double with Dino Blue, but I said I was in another WhatsApp group with some long-term racing friends. I said after the four fences, I said he ain't winning. I said he ain't winning. When a horse takes off and he seems to not want to get to the other side, there's two reasons for it. There's either a physical issue, or he's just too scared to land on the hard ground,
Hmm.
and he just didn't like the ground. And he still ran a cracker of a race. Everything went wrong. He almost got taken out by a fall. I think it was a hoist and yaw that nearly took him with him. And he still had the ability to get to the front, and he had every chance. And fair play to Jamie. I'm still kicking myself for not backing him on the day. I know the way you're thinking. I put him up last year for the Kim Muir. I
in
put him
your
up for the race at the DRF, and just again, everything went bloody wrong for me in the week. And horses that I always follow, I backed. I know the way you're thinking for the John Durkin. I backed him for the Irish Gold Cup, but I didn't back him for the bloody Cheltenham Gold Cup. And am I kicking myself? Yes, I am. But right decision, pulling him out in the national. I don't think they need to go for it. I am Maximus will still have a say in the national. I'm convinced he will. I think there's other horses. JP might have something else in there. I can't think off the top of my head what he's got, but
Well,
he's definitely not going to go there.
for the Grand
Who?
National.
Yeah,
Morocco.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's got Oroko, he's got Meeting of the Waters as well. Plenty in there. Yeah, yeah.
Meeting of the Waters. So he's got
Percival Galva.
Oh God, don't.
Percival. That
Oh,
would
he's
be
a great chance of winning the Grand National.
that would finish me off for the season if he won that race because I probably won't back him and probably win. So, but no, I just think galloping this time next year. Would I back him again at the age of 10 for a Gold Cup?
No.
No. But again, what's coming out of the 3 mile novice rank division this season? You can have
Jackie
the likes of the
Watson.
jukebox man. You're going to have Lecky Watson, who I spoke about with you earlier. I am a fan of him, but as he'd have to prove it again. I just think there's no chance in hell. People say Gallopin's the best horse since Arkle come from Ireland. No, sorry,
No.
no. The best horse to come out from Ireland since Arkle was definitely not him. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head who it was, but probably Moscow Flyer over 2 miles is the best Irish horse I've seen in my lifetime over 2 miles from Ireland. 3 miles. Do you know what I mean? I'm not even going to go into it. I'm trying to think, but
And he was
nothing.
better in Sprinter. And he was better in Sprinter Sacra.
Oh, yes, he was.
Anyway, we're
I've
not
got,
going down that argument.
I've got a
I knew that. I knew that touch a nerve.
I've got a Gold Cup horse in mind from Ireland that I think, on their best form, he would fully live it up with Galopin de Champs. Any ideas? He won the Gold Cup. Soft ground.
Kicking,
Yeah,
kicking king.
yeah, Tontas. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
Uh,
brilliant. No,
I thought your man was. I thought your man. Yeah, yeah, 100%. Wouldn't disagree. I thought Ting was a better winner, Sides John.
I never took to him, but it might be because I didn't back him and I didn't latch onto him all season. But either way, look, Galopin is absolutely brilliant, and he needs that soft ground to be seen to best effect. He's vulnerable on anything, but that's the way I see it myself. But look, take nothing away from the winner. And the reason they're probably not running him in the national, I know the way you think, is because they've got a 7-year-old that's won a Gold Cup, and they've got a Gold Cup horse for the next few years now. JP, why would he want to? I know he'd be going into the national off a blooming handy mark, but
Here's a
easy,
question.
easy.
Here's a question for you both. If Fast or Slow would have stayed fit all season
Don't
on
fucking
the
start,
ground,
Scotty. Don't
would
start
he
now.
would he have had a chance
Don't
this year?
start.
Huge chance. Me and Jamie were fighting his cause from day one. To be fair, this season, weren't we? Like, so
I look exactly, and I was going to come on to Scotty. I was going to make the point, and you just did it for me.
dagger in the
Uh,
heart stuff.
he was my only bet. Ante-Post for the Gold Cup in the summer. Hindsight's a great thing. Would he have beaten the winner? Maybe, maybe not. He
He'd
was
have had his
seriously
chance.
impressive.
He'd have had his
Yeah.
chance, though.
Oh, he'd have loved that ground. Yeah.
Oh,
It'd have
geez.
been a great Gold Cup if he was in it.
It
To be
would,
honest
yeah.
with
Yeah.
you. As I said to you in the group, lads, I like what lad said to me, and you met my mate, Joe, when you were in Tralee, John, and he said to me, Jamie, you can't beat you can't back Gallopin. That like they're your everyday punter, like coming out for their day out and the whole lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I said to everybody, I said, there's only one he bet in the race. And I said, I had a good chunk. Look, hindsight's a great thing. I had a good chunk each way in him. I said he's the only bet in the race. Obviously with course form and look and the whole lot, and the ground came from him. I don't think even regardless of the soft ground, with Gallopin. I think I know the way you're thinking would have won. Look at the way he won the Kimura last year. I know it's a handicap, and hindsight's a great thing. It doesn't matter. I think he'd have beaten him anyway.
Interesting.
A lot of people said that Gallopin didn't get his ground. I understand that, but you have to look at Gallopin's two Gold Cups, and I said it early in the season. Gallopin's first Gold Cup was good, good time. Last year, his time was shocking. Even on the soft ground, it was shocking. Um, he just won because he's a class horse. And look, hindsight's a great thing. Look, he's unbeatable at Leopardstown, and we all know that. But if you look back and you're trying to track like we're going on about Constitution Hill earlier, and there's performances and all. You look back at all these performances in Ireland at Leopardstown. He's never been taken on.
Sure,
He
sure.
gets his own way, and then he goes to Punchestown. It's on quicker ground always to Punchestown, and he gets found out. And I said that early in the season. That's the one crib I always had with him. That if you got a good ground Gold Cup, he's vulnerable. And that goes back to your point that I'm really sick that my only Ante-Post bet in the Gold Cup was fast or slow. I think it'd have been there on the premises if he was fit. I will say that. Hindsight's a great thing, but I think it'd have been fast or slow against I know the way you're thinking. But to me, like I would say at the start of the season, would I know the way you're thinking being on your radar to win a Gold Cup? No, but he still won a great one at entry, and people forget about that.
Sure, sure, sure.
And he was waiting for his ground, and that was it. Ground maybe being hypocritical. Was he waiting for the ground? Was he just waiting for that trip all the year? Was Gallopin running around showing his hand all year? Maybe, and they saw the opportunity. They supplemented him. I know the way you're thinking. Come in on good ground, slow ground doesn't matter. But exactly what Joe says, this could be multiple Gold Cup winner as well because he's only 7 years old. And if you look with the crowd coming up from behind, he looks like he could win multiple Gold Cups.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it'll be another album photo, another Gallop band, and all that, and Quarter Star and all that, and more luck to him. He looks like he was after Bridal coming around the corner, but he stays and he stays really well. And to be honest with you, if he stays sound, I don't think anyone can beat him next year, can you?
well, this is
Unless Faster Slow comes back from the clouds, but I think Faster Slow, like this year,
yeah,
would have been fantastic on the better ground.
yeah. It was this year his chance, though. That's
It
the
was, and
beauty,
I
you
think,
know?
and poor old Martin Brazil kind of knows that this was the year for Faster Slow, yeah.
Totally. I mean, I'm just
Yeah.
looking down the bet and like I know the way you're thinking. Fine, facts file, no. Galapan, fast or
Mm,
slow, no. Grey Dawning, no. Lecky Watson, maybe. Madgeborough, no.
yeah.
Ballyburn, no. Jerry Carlom, no. Monty Starr, no. Coldwell Potter, no. Keita Bourbon, no. And then at 40 to 1, you've got the jukebox man. That's the only one you
Yeah.
could consider really backing at this stage, couldn't you? Like 40 to 1?
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah, yeah, like that's a massive bet.
I know the way you're thinking would have been about that this time last year. He'd have been
Yeah.
about 40s, like, so it does
Mm,
happen.
yeah.
But anyway, lads, brilliant again. Great fun doing this all year with you. Anyone viewing, like we said, we're not stopping. We go all the way through the season, all the way through the flat season.
And
Uh,
one more before we leave, Joe.
go
The
for it,
one
Glenn.
horse that I didn't believe people, I can't believe, and I was stupid. And I will say, I'll put my hand up. My father had a great bet at 16 to 1 on Ante-Post.
Would
Would you?
you?
I couldn't
Yeah.
believe it.
Look, Jim, I was with you though. I was like, you need a stay-in chaser that's going to win this race, not
Yeah.
not a, not
And
a
I won, like,
millionaire.
and if they change the structure of the Mare's Hurdle, I couldn't put anyone off backing the horse to
Yeah,
win the Mare's Hurdle next year.
absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Yeah, she won like a good thing, didn't she? Totally took me by surprise as well. Like another one.
Gordon Elliott said they nearly supplemented at the last minute. They
Yeah,
just stuck to their guns.
yeah.
It's funny. I was going to say, I told you the story. I'll tell everyone. The only winner I had all week, pretty much, was her, one of them. And I went in my wallet and I looked all around my bedroom. And what did I do? I lost the bet slip.
No. Oh yeah, you
Yeah.
said yeah, yeah. I'm
So
surprised.
I had to go into the bookies and tell her about when I put the bet on, and it took
And she
about two
found it.
hours, and they found the bet. So I got paid out just. I was lucky. So
Gee,
look after your slips, people.
look
And
at your slips.
one thing before I leave is that one horse they put up all year was Speed. In the Fox Hunters, she just doesn't go on the ground. Angel's on.
Just on, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just didn't go on the ground. Traveled like the best horse in the race. Just didn't get a home on the ground. Probably would have won on softer ground. My mother maiden name is Wall.
Okay.
So Wonder Wall, Wonder Race,
No way. Yeah, yeah.
and like even me and Dad looked at each other. I guarantee he said Wonder Wall will win the race, and it did.
Yeah, yeah. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Funny enough, my mum did the same as well. But you owe me a free bet, James, because you had me sold on Angel's Dawn as well. I got stuck in. Right, lads, that's gone on 2 hours, maybe even longer than 2 hours, actually. But that was good fun, really good fun for the season. Highlight, just one word, highlight of the festival for me, Marine Nationale, no question about it. Scotty,
I'm with you. I thought Marine National was the whole thing of the meeting for me. Yeah, brilliant it was to see.
Jamie,
I'll say two. Obviously the local owner double here, obviously with the Stumptown and Jazzy Matty was fantastic. But to me, the highlight, look, fair play, but the highlight's the new line. I think he's a top class horse.
yeah, love it. Like we said, we should, as soon as he sort of ran well, it was good boost then for Wendigo as well. And also we've got a nice novice chase with him for next year. Right, we'll leave it there then, fellas. It's been a long episode. Didn't honestly, I thought we were going to be going on for an hour, but I really enjoyed that actually. Probably felt like a slog to some people that have tuned in, but thanks for tuning in. Really do appreciate everyone that's followed us all year. Nice to pay back with a few winners. I was a pretty average in this year's festival. Scotty, you've sort of said you didn't have the best year this
I
year.
had a bad year, kind of like from my picks for the show. Jamie beat me in a head-to-head, 1-0, golden goal,
1-0 to the Arsenal.
1-0. But
Easy,
I'm
mate.
very much studying for the Brain Power final to get my revenge, which is where it's
Yeah,
at. So,
yeah,
but
so yeah, yeah,
but no,
I'm not saying nothing about that.
yeah.
we
Yeah,
we go again.
anyone that doesn't know, we obviously good friends of the Cheltenham Exchange. We've all been on at the Brain Power quiz, and my two lads, Jamie and Scotty, are in the final, the head-to-head. So we're going to find out who gets the promotion for next year. Look, everyone, thanks for joining in. Much appreciated. I hope you all had a good festival. I hope you've enjoyed the insight from us.
Bring on entry.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we'll probably be back next week as well, doing bits and bobs. Loads of different shows planned. I've got a few ideas which I haven't even told the lads yet, but I will come around to doing those. Please do hit subscribe. We really appreciate it. Don't forget we are sponsored by Oddschecker. Appreciate you all. We can't do this without you. Bye for now.